And then here we are. Look at that. We are live. And the fun part is, typically I don't have my camera on for these ones, but I figured out a way to do it so I can be here and you guys don't have to worry about it. But this way,
Okay.
nobody is
Hey, look
losing.
at our little artwork on Twitch. So cute.
Uh-huh. Yep. Right on there. So yes, that is a thing I would like to. A
Oh,
couple of things I'd like to address is we have some very talented artists in
look,
this group.
look at the little group photo. That's so cool.
Uh-huh. Yep. So up in the top right-hand corner, we have the art that our very own Lisa, or Eurydice, drew. And that is actually, I don't know if she notices or if anybody else does, but the art that is behind them is another piece of art that Lisa put on her Instagram. Lisa draws
Oh,
art.
yeah.
Yes, it is one of the blue and green mountains, which I thought was very pretty, so I wanted to put it on here. And then also, as you see, there's new character art. Now we have art that was done by, although she thinks I'm bad, I think she's pretty wonderful. So
And then
Gemma,
I'm right.
she is right. I'm bad. Anyway, Gemma, who plays Twig, drew these wonderful character portraits for everybody right next to their name. So thank you, Gemma. So great to have you here, even though you think I'm bad.
Love you, too.
Oh man, I love you too. Alrighty, so without any further ado, I think that we should get to, actually. Hey, wait a second! Big thing that I want to talk about is we hit 50 followers. Look at that! Isn't that awesome? That's amazing. It makes me so happy. Woo, indeed. To quote Ric Flair. That was a wrestling reference.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna start counting how many wrestling references happen
Yeah,
every time.
there's been like 5 total in just the 2.5 hour thing in the beginning here. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything that I need to say. Oh, I would like to say once again, if you were checking out during the intro, right here we had some art that was playing through, and while that was art done by players of my own, some of it was actually done by a particular artist who does commissions. Andy Romanchek, I believe is his last name. Anyway, he's phenomenally talented, and he did a group commission of the Salamander Coast, which plays on this Twitch channel on Tuesdays. He will be making one for the Explorers of Afera, which plays on Fridays. And who knows? Maybe one day, just for consistency, I'll have him do this group as well. However, it seems kind of odd to do that when we do have such talented artists already in the group. But yeah, so I just want to credit him because the work that he did was awesome. I thoroughly recommend you go check out his Instagram, see the other cool characters that he's designed there. But yes, so I believe with that, we can get started. I don't believe this episode's sponsored by anybody aside from me. I sponsor my own channel. I pay for everything, so you know. Yeah. Alrighty, well, there you go. There's a sponsor. Thank you, Joe from Roll with Advantage. I appreciate all the work you do for us. Oh, man. You ever talk about yourself in the third person and feel incredibly awkward afterwards? Me too. Alrighty, so with that now out of the way, I think that we should actually get started and dive in to today's session of the Isles of Iverion. So, what I'd like to do first is we're going to zoom out and then we're going to zoom back into where we were. All right? So, welcome to the world of Illica. A world that has shifted and changed much with the ebb and flow of time. A world full of people and nations trying to leave their mark on history. After all, who doesn't want to leave a legacy? From the rolling sands of Odero and Cartasia, where sultans and khans feud over control of ancient trade routes, while they also try and fend off demon hordes bleeding over from Avernus and the Blood War. To the north, the continent of Afera, currently locked in a bloody civil war that has almost come to a close. The Tarkirian Trading Company and the Golden Shields are weeks away from total domination. It's said that no one stands in their way. The natives of Efera try their best to fight back, but it almost seems to never be enough. They hope and pray that someone will save them. Then to the west we have the nations of Yggdrasil, Belaclara, Atashari, and Loshar. While these nations have worked together peacefully for the past 100 years, there are whispers from the shadows that say the Dark One has returned. If that is the case, light help those people and protect them from the coming storm. Going south from there, that brings us to the nations of Tarkir, Macavia, and Iverion. And this is where our adventure takes place. A true peace has never happened between these feuding three nations, always at each other's throats imposing trade tariffs or threatening war. But the worries of the nation and their empty threats are no worry for 5 wanderers who have all been excommunicated by society or looked down by society. They are no worry to any of you. The 5 of you, 5 individuals who have yet to understand the impact that they will have on this world. The 5 of you, under different circumstances and requests under 2 different individuals, find yourselves chasing a flower. A lily of red and yellow, larger than a normal one. Luckily, both of you, both parties, all 5 of you, found the flower. But sadly, it seemed there was something else there waiting for you. So, Grok and Twig, as the 2 of you approached, you could see a forest clearing, a small grove full of darling tiny lilies, some red, some white, some yellow, some golden. However, before you could approach any closer, you heard the clacking and clattering of bones snapping together and breaking away from the brush. Undead. Skeletons clattering and clacking at you. Hissing. And as you turn to look to each other, you ready your weapons, not knowing what is to come. 3 skeletons stand in front of you. And Grok and Twig, as both of you look behind you, you see that maybe 50, 60 feet away from you, a woman with dirty blonde hair, tinged blue at the ends, a dark elf with long white hair tied in a man bun, and an elvish woman, half elvish maybe, with deeper skin and auburn hair, making their way towards the flower, as well as 4 undead skeletons connect and begin to rise towards them. So Nalfian, Izzy, and Eurydice, you look and you can see the large, very imposing built man with a giant anchor on his shoulder, and a younger girl with a very large crossbow in her hands. And with that, as the skeletons approach all of you near this flower that you were sent to recover by a bishop of the church and by some random pirate from the seas, I would like everybody to go ahead and roll for initiative. Ooh.
Do we need to click on a...
Yes, you should be able to, and you should be able to click on your tokens, by the way.
I see no token.
I see no token. I don't think we're on the right page.
We're not on the right.
Oh yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right. I got a little carried away. Ba ba ba! Look at that.
There
There
we
we
go. There's the flower.
Izzy doesn't want to be that close to a skeleton.
I don't think any of us do.
Well,
really.
that is where you would have been when you guys were making your way.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh no!
I love it. It's like the nat
Look,
20 and the nat 1. Absolute
The
balance. is all
dichotomy of
things should be.
D&D.
What is our group doing?
I am smart, not combat person. You know, I'm here to keep you all out of trouble.
Excuses, see if it works.
I want to go ahead and...
Oh yeah, Skyrim music here.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
man.
love it.
I will-
Okay, alrighty. So let me go ahead and move the turn order here and drag that down there. Alrighty, make sure that looks okay on the stream. Yep, there we go. Alrighty. Very cool. So, with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So it looks like straight up first on the turn order is Grok. So Grok, you can see four skeletons behind you, 3 in front of you. Flower, maybe 20, 30 feet away from you. What are you doing?
That's a good question. No, I don't think he would make a beeline for it. Yeah, he'd go to the ones in front of him.
Okay.
Probably this one here.
Okay.
And just bring that anchor down.
Alrighty, roll for an attack. Oh, dang. Okay, so as you run up, swinging, going to bring the anchor down, you haven't been in a fight in so long, especially having to use this anchor. Caught off guard by the undead shambling from the... breaking away and shambling from the earth and shrubbery around you. You swing, and the skeleton just darts out of the way as you swing and miss with your giant anchor. Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm gonna stay here.
Okay, alrighty. So then you recover and ready for the next moment. So then we come to one skeleton who is going to run up right next to you, Eurydice, just kind of shambling forward, bones clacking and clattering, and it's going to take out this rusted short sword and go to slash into you. So that is an 8 to hit. I believe that's a miss there, miss. Okay, yep.
No.
So it goes to slash, but you can see that there are chunks of moss and stone that are caught in the joints that prevent it from having a good range of motion, and you're easily able to dodge out of the way before the blade comes slashing into you. Okay, so then we come to another skeleton who is going to run up straight to you now, Thane, doing the same thing, clacking and clattering, and is going to attempt to take a swipe at you. However, I have a feeling that that's going to miss. Oh, wow, never mind. That's a 22 to hit.
Yep.
Woo! And that is...
You're right.
That's 3 points of slashing damage.
Gotcha.
So as it runs up to you, you are cocky and confident. You defeated the shield just earlier today. This is nothing for you. And as you pull out your rapier and your dagger and you go to parry, you end up moving too fast. The skeleton is moving much slower than you thought it would. And as you go to parry, you end up parrying too fast. And the short sword actually ends up cutting into part of your forearm as you just parried too quickly. Okay. Alrighty, so getting slashed with a short sword, it's still standing in front of you, and then that brings us to Twig. Alrighty, Twig, what are you doing?
I don't like being so close, so I'm gonna just back up a little bit.
Okay.
Kind of bring up my little crossbow and shoot at the one that Grok's in front of.
Okay. Oh! Okay, so here, wait.
Oh.
Before you roll damage, this is something that I change in my games for just like a homebrew critical hit. Is whenever you do score a crit, instead of it doing just like rolling the damage twice, it automatically maxes out the first damage die, and then you roll an additional one. So I can change that in your inventory just real quick. So the crit, let's see, where's that at? Crit range 20, type piercing damage. Crit. So your crit damage will be 8. So now if you roll for damage, it should go ahead and do that correctly.
Hey.
Oh, hot
dead.
damn. Yes, it is. So, Grok, as you swing and miss, you heave and you are about to, like, roar at this thing and tear it apart. Before you can, though, a bolt flies right past your head, slams into the skull of the skeleton, and just rips the head off, sending it and pinning it into a tree behind it as the rest of the skeleton clatters down underneath you as it falls dead. Alrighty. Anything else there, Twig?
No.
Anna.
Just getting ready to shoot at the next one.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. So then we come to other skeletons. So, let's see. This one is going to move right behind you. Grok, luckily that one got killed there, so we don't have to worry about anything there. So we're going to go for another short sword. That is a 9 to hit, which is a miss. Then we come to this one, who is going to run up to you now, Fian. Make a short sword swipe. That is a 15 to hit. I believe that's a miss, correct?
Yep, that misses.
Okay, all right. Slashes and miss. This time, you understand the movements. You're not going to be duped again. You parry, easy enough. Okay, then we come to this one, who... Oh, man, this one's got a straight path to you, Izzy. Comes straight at you, and that is a... Oh, wow, that's a 4 to hit. I'm assuming that's a miss. Wizard AC is low, but I don't think it's that low. Okay, alrighty. So, it goes to slash down at you, and you just kind of jump out of the way before it's able to slash down at you. Okay, so then we come to Nalfian.
All right. Lovely. He's going to flash these gentlemen a beautiful grin, and the one who attacked him first, he's going to go after.
Okay, so that's the one in the corner. Man, sadly, a 12, that is a miss. As you go and slash at it.
All right, I will try to offhand bring in my dagger.
Okay. That is a hit. There you go, and go ahead and roll for damage. All right, hey, that's pretty good. That's 4 points of damage. Pretty good. Alrighty. So the first one with the rapier thrusting in, as you thrust the rapier in, you don't actually make contact with anything. It just passes through leather, and then it doesn't even make contact with any of the ribs. You just poke through the skeleton and find purchase on nothing but the armor that it's wearing. As you withdraw, pulling out the dagger, you slash, and this time you're able to crack into the side of the jaw, creating a bit of a fracture right there. Doing a little bit of damage. Okay. Alrighty, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So this one is dead. Nothing to worry about there. Then we have this one who is going to... Ooh, this one's going to move towards you, Twig. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yep. And it is going to go ahead and swipe at you. Short sword. That's a 14 to hit. Does that hit?
AC is 14.
Oh, yeah, that is a hit. Alrighty. It's going to slash, and that is... Ooh, that is 6 points of piercing damage. Whew. Woo! Slashes down at you, and this is completely new to you, as you've been out in the forest a little bit, and you've gotten to know some of the natural friends, and you know how dangerous something like wolves can be. But undead skeletons, I mean, it's just something that you've only ever read about. So as it slashes down at you, you are just completely caught off guard. The wind sapped from your lungs, and a small cut right on your wrists and forearms that's beginning to pour with blood. Okay. So from there we go to Eurydice. What are you doing?
Okay, so little bit of a question. I think I remember that when we were talking about the flower, it was mentioned that other people might have also be looking for it. Is that true? Maybe there might be other people looking for the flower.
He just said that he didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands.
Okay.
He didn't know if there was anybody else looking for it, though. At least he never said.
Okay. Well, what she is going to do is... She doesn't want to be close to him anyway. She's going to head over here, and she has 35 because... Elf. She's going to take the attack of opportunity.
Okay. That is a... Oh, that's a 7, so that's a miss.
Okay, and then I am going to Eldritch Blast him.
Okay, alright. So you run, dodge out of the way of the sword coming to swipe down on you. Easily dodge, and as you're running back, you shoot off an Eldritch Blast. Roll that attack.
100%. Tattoos start glowing.
Man, okay. So, with that, as you run and pull up the Eldritch Blast, you... Wait a second. Shouldn't that be more than +4? Or is your charisma only
Charisma's
+2?
32.
Okay, alrighty. So, as you reach up and discharge, it shoots off and it just slams into the tree right next to it, as you're not exactly still 100% on board with these powers that you have. Alrighty. So with that, then we come to Izzy. Izzy, what are you doing?
Well, seeing the danger she is in, she is going to cast Magic Missile at the one right next to her.
Okay, alrighty. 3 bolts come flying out. Very cool. Ooh, wow! 14 points of damage. Very nice. Alrighty, so with that, all 4 bolts, or all 3 bolts slam into each side of the, into the skeleton, cracking the bones and sending splinters flying, as eventually the entire thing clatters down to the ground.
Okay, so as it dies, she goes, "Take that, you fool!" And she will run over here.
Okay, very cool. So now you and Eurydice right next to each other. Very awesome, very awesome. So then we come back up to the top of the turn order with Grok.
Yeah, I'd just be swinging the anchor again.
Alrighty, go for it. Come on. Take him home. All right, there we go. That is a hit. Roll your damage. 9 points of slashing damage. Very good. Alrighty. So this time you heave and slash into it, breaking off bits of arm and splintering into the bone that's exposed, causing fractures and tears all along the sides of the bone and partially in the ribs, but not enough yet to take it down. Alrighty. Anything else, Grok?
I would just be kind of altering position here.
Okay, alrighty, cool. So moving just a little bit more inward, and that way you are also in line with Twig. Very good to know. Alrighty, so then we come to this one right here, who is... Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah, I guess it's just gonna... it's just gonna come towards Nalfian. And that is a 15 to hit again, so that is a miss. Then we have this one, who is going to get right here next to Nalfian. So that way it will get flanking, so it's going to get an extra d6 to the attack. So that's a 7 plus a d6, which doesn't matter. It won't be enough. So 7 plus d6, whatever that would have been, it goes to slash. Even though you were trying to juggle 3 different people around you, you are still able to flick and defend using your rapier and your dagger, blocking as often and as much as you can. Alrighty. So that's it for its turn. Then we come to Twig. So Twig, you've got a skeleton right in front of you. It just took a slash at you a little bit ago. What are you doing?
Crossbow loaded, and she's shooting because she's a crossbow expert, so she doesn't have disadvantage, but it doesn't matter anyways.
Oh no!
Cried the corner.
No! Okay, alrighty. So as you go to aim up and shoot it, you hear this. The trigger doesn't pull all the way. There's some type of spring or something that got jammed on the crossbow. The bolt is still pulled back, but it's going to take a little bit of fidgeting with in order to get it to work. But it should be fine. Should be. Is there anything else you want to do?
Fuck it. She's gonna just back away further and hope that she'll just get hit.
Oh, okay. So your AC is 14, so let's go ahead and roll for a short sword attack, and that is a... Oh, that's a 14 again?
It's fine.
And that is... Okay, but that is only 3 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Everything's fine. We're fine here.
It's fine.
We're fine here. Everything's fine. Okay, so anything else, Twig?
Did you know she's just gonna be a bit, like, intro behind, like, this tree.
Okay. Alrighty, sounds good. So then we come to this skeleton, who's going to take a swing at you, Grok. That is a 19 to hit, which I believe hits.
Yeah.
And that is gonna be 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty, so then we come to... Oh, God. Alrighty. Nalfian. Short sword attack. Okay, that is a... Oh, that's a 12. That's a miss.
Okay.
Nothing else. Then we have... Oh, this one's dead. Alrighty, so then Nalfian, it is your turn.
All right. Oh, out of these three, is there one that looks a little bit more worse for wear, or have they all not been hit at all?
None of them... Well, no. The one right in front of you to your north was the one that you hit with your dagger.
All right. I will go after him. With Whisper.
That's a hit.
Fuck yeah. All right.
Roll your damage.
Hell yeah.
Hot damn. Okay, that is enough. So the one directly to your north, you pierce with Whisper. This time you know exactly where those bones are, so you make sure to try and pierce as many of them as you can. You hear snap, 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 snap. And as you withdraw the rapier, the bones clatter onto the ground.
Great. Also, with a little bit of a pizzazz and a flip of the wrist, let's try to offhand the other one to my side.
Alright, to your side. That's a hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Gotta show off. There's a lot of ladies here.
Oh, well.
Well, we're doing the best we can. It was more about the show than the damage.
It's alright. It happens to everybody. It's okay. Alrighty. So, you go and slash with the dagger, but this time you only are able to cut partway into a bone before you can see that your dagger just slightly begins to chip a little bit, which causes you to recoil a little bit, preventing you from carrying through all the way. Chopping into bone.
I will just turn my focus entirely on now.
Okay.
Alright. My turn.
Sounds good. So then we come to Skeleton here, who, let's see.
I can take it.
Line of sight. Line of sight on us.
Or,
Okay.
just kill me again, Jar. Do it.
Oh, God. You know what? Yeah, you're right. Well, actually, anyway, because you two are closer to the flower, anyway, you can see that it's these, like, empty eye sockets are just following you, Twig, as you're running away. But as soon as you get maybe 40 feet away from that flower, you can see its attention get changed to Izzy, who is directly in front of him. The short sword gets sheathed, and a short bow comes out. So that's going to be one shot against Izzy. That is a 13 to hit. Is that a hit?
Shield.
Okay, so as the arrow pulls back and flies at you, you can see it's about to like make contact with your jugular, but you throw up an arcane shield. What does the shield look like?
Izzy's will be bright blue with little spurts of purple here and there to match Lizzie.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. So you're, as you cast the shield, you can see your little pseudo-dragon comes out and raises up their little arms a little bit to try and help you cast the shield a little bit, and you can see the small imitations of purple on there as well. But the arrow slams into the shield and shatters and clatters onto the ground beneath you. Alrighty, so with that, Eurydice, it is your turn.
Okay. If I wanted to bend down and just like grab the flower, like legit just swipe, grab it, would I be able to do that and still have an action?
Yeah, interacting with an object is a free action.
Okay, then, seeing the flower, she is going to think, okay, just
Can I slap her hand?
why?
You don't know what it is. Could be dangerous.
I do the herbalism stuff. I may as well get it out of here. She's gonna do it anyway, because... Yeah. She's gonna grab it.
Okay.
Then she is going to turn around and tattoos all over her body, lighting up red and...
Okay, wait. Sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to get you too carried away, but interrupt you. As you go to grab the flower and yank it out of the ground, I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Brilliant. That's just great.
You were expecting something different? Huh?
Yes! Fine.
This is Eve.
Ah!
Okay. Alrighty, you take 3 points of necrotic damage as you go to grab, and it just sort of singes into your hand, and you can feel the skin just begin to sort of, frizz and then just begin to turn a grayish hue on your hand as you go and touch it. But you recoil. Luckily, it didn't deal too much damage. But it did hurt.
Ow. Okay. I still get to attack, or is that just
So
me?
wait, did you pick? So was she able to pick it up? It just hurt her, or she wasn't able to pick it up?
No, as she went to go grab it, she
Okay.
kind of pulled back, or else you have a feeling it might have
Okay.
continued to do more. You still get to attack, yeah.
Okay. I'm a dumbass. I am going to try and hit this one right here with Eldritch Blast. Because I
Okay.
feel bad for leaving Alfian. Sorry, bro.
Okay, that is a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. Come on.
It is what it is.
4 points of force damage. Alrighty, very cool. So you pull up the Eldritch Blast, and then what does your Eldritch Blast look like?
It comes, like, the tattoos get brighter and brighter the further they go down her arm and across her fingers, and then it just shoots off this energy, which is very much a mixture of kind of maroon and red and a little bit of orange.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you discharge and poof, sends off this swirling bolt of reddish maroon and orange energy, and it slams into that skeleton. Granted, it seems as though some of the leathers that it's wearing absorb some of that force damage, but that 4 points still carries through, and some of the bones shatter and crack around the rib cage. So it's still standing, but not looking too great. Okay, anything else?
Just kind of holding her hand, being like, ow, ow, ow.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So then we come to Izzy. Izzy, what do you want to do?
Would Izzy have noticed the necrotic energy as she reached for the flower? Being this close.
Being this close, yeah, you could see the effect that it had on her skin, and you could deduce that leads you to believe that there's some type of necrotic energy to it.
Okay. So Izzy is going to cast Toll the Dead on this skill boy here.
Okay. Very
Uh,
cool.
This one.
All right, though, yep, the one just south of Nalfian. Got it.
Yes. Drawing necrotic energy to fuel it. Toll the Dead is necrotic.
Heck yeah. Alrighty, and then that's a what saving throw from the skeleton con?
That is going to be a wisdom save
Wisdom.
of 2. And it is wounded, yes?
Yes, it is, so that'll be a d12 if it fails. Okay, so wisdom. Oh, yeah. -1. Alright. And DC 4. Yeah. So that's a 13. It rolled a 14, but -1. So it takes the full damage, which is 8 points of damage. Oh, so close. So as you...
Necrotic, if that matters.
No, not for these skeletons. So as you conjure the well, what does your Toll the Dead look like? Is it just like one big ethereal bell, or?
So, yeah, Izzy does like a little bit of show when she conjures any images, even if it's not conjuration magic. So she will literally form a big black bell next to its head and have it ring really loudly in its direction.
Okay, alrighty. So as the boom rings out, you can hear and see that those vibrations. Nalfian, you can see that there are cracks beginning to form all over the skull of this skeleton, as if one more hit would send it shattering and flying all over the place. But it still is all the way together. And Nalfian, even you're kind of hurt a little bit from the toll that just went off next to you.
Nalfian! That's my turn.
I will wink in response.
Okay, alrighty. So then we come to Grok.
I think at this point, like, Grog's kind of stupid, but he'd be like looking around, being like, "Fucking weird forest, this lads." And then once again, swing down that anchor on the skeleton in front of him.
All right, come on. Take me home, damn it. No, level 1, yeah. It's fun being bad. So, Grok, you swing up your axe and swing it down, and it is just not enough. As you swing down, the skeleton just sidesteps out of the way of your huge, heavy anchor axe. and it just slams into the ground, and as you pull it back up, the skeleton seems to be rearing up to go ahead and hit you. But first we have to get to skeleton with on death's door against Nalfian. That is an 18 to hit.
That hits.
Ooh, all right. And that's going to be 4 points of piercing damage.
Got it.
Then we have this one who is dead. Well, is more dead. So then, after that, as it sort of slashes into you, you're not able to dodge out of the way. Twig, we're going to go ahead and jump to you.
Okay. Still at the little skelly boy that was attacking me previously. Another little shot.
Nice. That is just a hit.
Oof.
Oh! And 11 points of piercing damage. Alrighty, so you pull up the crossbow and boom, you manage to get that jam out of there. The bolt flies and slams into the chest of the skeleton. You can hear ribs and bones and part of the spine snapping and beginning to break, but this one, it's covered in all of these stress fractures, but still it is hanging on by a thread. Just barely hanging on to life. Or undeath, I guess I should say. So, anything else, Twig?
It's just gonna move a little bit further.
Just get as much distance as you can. Nope. Okay, alrighty, very cool. So then we come to Skeleton, who is Grok. You guys are just going 1 for 1 here. He's coming at you. That's a 21 to hit, bud. Oh god.
Just about.
Okay, and then that's 3 points of damage.
Okay.
Oh god, but you guys are level 1, so that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short sword slashes down into you, and you try and... I'm not a murderer. So you raise up your forearm, it slashes into your forearm, but luckily it doesn't hit your face. You already have enough scars there. You don't need to add any more. Alrighty. So, with that, we come up here to the skeleton who is right in front of Nalfian. And Nalfian, that's going to be another attack against you. If it'll roll here in a second. That is a 12 to hit.
Oh, that misses.
Misses? Okay, very cool. Alrighty. So, you are getting near the end of your stamina. This is going longer than most of your fights in the ring have gone. And you are sort of dodging and trying to miss these attacks as much as you can. And luckily, it seems as though after getting hit the last time, you gain a little bit of stamina back in order to dodge out of this one that was this overhead swipe from the skeleton in front of you. So with that, it is your turn.
All right, the one who's barely hanging on to life, I'm going to try to offhand. Fuck. Just kidding. I guess we're full on attacking him. Which choice? Jesus Christ. Fuck this game. Sorry, I didn't mean to roll like 8 times. I'm gonna die. We die next round.
That's that's okay. I was okay, so as you wait a second, what's going on? Okay, so the 10 and the 12, not the 14, okay.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to click too many times.
No, you're good. Okay, so so yeah, as you go and slash offhand and pierce main hand, both of them, they just end up dodging and are able to avoid the hits. Alrighty, anything else, Nalfian?
I shouldn't have offhand. I could have second. Too late now. Nope, that's it.
Okay, alrighty. So then we come to Skeleton over here, who with this one is going to take a few steps closer, and is going to make another short bow attack against you, Izzy. That is a 16 to hit. Okay. Shield again or no shield?
I'm out of spell slots.
Oh no! Alrighty, so then that is 6 points of piercing damage.
Ow.
That's the in-canon noise. That's like if this fight was really happening, she really went ow as the arrow flies past Izzy and just slashes into your shoulder, and you can feel that rusty arrowhead begin to like infect your bloodstream, and it aches, and it's already beginning to seep into your shoulder sleeve. Okay, so Alrighty, with that we come to Eurydice. Eurydice.
Eurydice,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay. I don't want anyone to die. So, this guy right here.
Yeah.
How bad does he look?
The guy right south of Nalfian looks like he's covered in stress fractures. Like, a soft breeze could come rolling around and he would fall apart.
Okay. Then, in that case, she's gonna look around, see if he's in trouble, and be like, and she's gonna shout at Twig. Please help her! Don't let her die, please! And then she's going to run and just try to get this guy's attention and also smash him with a spear.
Okay.
She really doesn't want Nalfian to die, so she's running to help him.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. Go ahead and roll your spear attack. Hey, that is a hit! And I'm assuming you have more than a +1 modifier, so you can go ahead and roll your damage. We'll see how dead it is.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. It's super dead. Alrighty, so -6.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. And as you run, holding the spear, you thrust in and you are able to crack into it. And it's not even the piercing effort of the spear. It's more of just the bludgeoning force from you running and slamming the spear into it that sends the bones cracking and falling down onto the ground. So, Nalfian, the one in front of you, is dead.
She's still like, I'm sorry that we left you. Just please don't die. And that's it.
Actually, let me see something here real quick. I'm pretty sure there's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. I found it. I know. Okay.
Yeah. So, Eurydice, Nalfian, as you see Eurydice slam into the skeleton, as you see the bones clatter down onto the ground, you can see this, like, the same color as her magic that fired out, that Eldritch Blast, that reddish, maroon, goldish color begins to seep out of the broken bones of that skeleton and moves almost like snake tendrils over to her and just begins to sink into her skin. And you can see any of the cuts and bruises that were on her body slowly begin to close. Some of them are still there, but it seems as though she got some type of life from that creature's death.
I see. Okay, Nalfian will just kind of like following that like magic and tracing it back to her. Will just kind of like cock an eyebrow, but not say anything.
Okay, alrighty. So with that, Izzy, it is your turn.
I will summon another bell.
Alrighty.
On this guy right here, this boy.
And he has been injured. 1 hit point, but that's still injured.
Hey, I'll take the 1 hit point injured.
Okay, so that is a 6 to his saving throw, so that's a failure, so he's going to take that damage. That's a d12. Oh, alrighty. 3 points of damage. Still nothing to scoff at. So, the gong, or the bell rings right next to its head. Nalfian, once again, that ringing in your ears, not enough to do any damage, but you can see bone begin to shatter and crack all along the side of the skull of that skeleton. Okay. Ooh.
And then it will run and kind of crouch down behind the bushes to kind of try to give herself some cover.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. So that with that, we jump to Grok, me boy.
Yeah, after that last hit, he'd find this hilarious and be like, fuck it, hell. And then, yeah, he'd swing in that anchor again. Just basically, like, it's like, think of the worst boxing match you've ever seen, and it's literally one punches the other one, and the other one punches back, and it's just that, over and over.
I feel that.
Alrighty. Hey, there we go! Roll your damage! Just... Hey, there we go! Alrighty. So, with that, you bring down the axe, and as it slams in, the bones are just torn apart and ripped through, cracking and splintering and falling motionless to the ground. Alrighty. Anything else, Grok? As the bones fall?
Yeah. He'll be like, fuck your job, Ed. And then run up here.
I'm starting a list of his quotes.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Long list.
Make sure Soft Lad is on there. That's my favorite one. Okay, alrighty. So then we come to Dead Skeleton, or Extra Dead Skeleton, and then we come to Twig. So Twig, you see one skeleton get knocked down. Izzy and Eurydice run back into the fray, or these two individuals that you do not know run back into the fray, and Grok begins to move and make his way in front of the skeleton that seemed to have been turning to begin to move towards you. What do you want to do?
Okay, cranking that crossbow one more time and hoping it hits.
That is a hit. Which one were you going for? The one right in front of Grok?
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, roll your damage. 9 points of damage. So Grok, as you are getting right around to stand in its way, ready to raise up your axe, there is a bolt that just flies through the air, slams into it once again, sending it clattering, very similar to the thing that happened at the very beginning of this fight. Okay. Alrighty, anything else, Twig, or are you happy to stay right there?
So stand by her little trees.
Okay. Alrighty, so then we come here. He is dead. And that leaves us to the only one left alive, which is the one right next to Nalfian. So, Nalfian, it's going to make a short sword attack against you.
Alright, he's just smiling in its face.
That is an 8 to hit, so that's a miss as he slams down the sword coming towards you. You grab it and catch it and parry, and that brings us to you, Nalfian.
Great.
That's a hit.
Over fucking kill. Oh, JK. No, overkill.
And
Maybe.
luckily, the 11... the 11 does it, so nobody has to worry about that 9 that you rolled. So,
Okay, great.
you slam with the rapier, and you just flick and pull the blade, so all of the bones end up snapping and cracking. All of those fractures end up erupting as the skull almost turns into powder with small chunks just floating through the air as the rest of the bones clatter and fall down to the ground. And it seems like in that moment, with those last bones clattering and falling, there is no more threat around you. So, as the bones clatter and fall down onto the ground...
Did this one die over here? In front of Grok?
Yeah, all of them did.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bones on the ground, combat settled. Now, Grok and Twig, you see the flower that you were told to come for. Eurydice, Nalfian, and Izzy, the three of you also see the flower you were told to come for. And more important than that flower, you all now fully recognize and can 100% see the other party.
Awkward.
Twig's gonna crank her crossbow once more and point it in the direction of the other people. Are you people with the temple as well?
No, we're not. And we're not going to hurt you, don't worry about it. We're just here for the flower. Oh, don't touch it. It hurts.
No, don't worry about me, love. I'm solid as rocks, me. And I'll pat himself on the shoulder and cast Lay on Hands.
Okay. Alrighty.
We'll start walking over and she holds up the hand that's like had the grey skin.
No, flower causes damage. She tried to grab it and it hurt her. You should let me study it first.
Well, hold on. Let's hold on this talk about study lark. I need to get this back to the temple at pronto.
Well, what do you plan on doing with it? Because
Me?
we were told to bring it
Fuck
to...
all, love.
We were told to make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. So, are you going to...
I mean, listen, lad. I'm not the wrong hand. I'm just the hand taking it there. I don't know if that's the wrong one either. I just, you know, it's a flower. I'm not asked, but you know, me and Twig.
I'm not sure if you had a drink today, friend.
Sorry, my manners. I've got some ale. It's pretty warm, like. And he pulls out his water skin. You want some?
Fuck, I do. Then we'll just take it and chug it.
What temple are you working for?
Temple. No, no. I don't think we're working for a temple, right?
No, I don't believe we are.
Captain Hugo sent us. And you
Oh,
are from
fuck off. Is that fancy lad on that big frigate?
Yes.
Yes.
Fucking poser ship if I've ever seen one.
Okay. Well, I just think we should give it a minute to check the flower because it's obviously harmful. She's going
Malfian just looks at it. Alright.
She's gonna start trying to study it. She's like, not like that. She's gonna crouch down by it and start trying to see if she can identify anything about it.
Grok, like a petulant child, is going to kick the ground near it.
Okay, alrighty. So then, Eurydice and Izzy, you two are gonna study it?
Yes.
I
Okay.
would like to cast Detect Magic
Ah,
as a ritual, so it's going to take me some time to, study it.
okay, alrighty. So, you take the 10 minutes. Is anybody else doing anything during those 10 minutes?
Twig's just looking around, just checking that there's nothing else, that's missing.
Being his loud self, while Twig is trying to be stealthy, he shouts out saying, Twig, do you want some of this ale?
Twig's just ignoring him.
Can
He
Malfian
would
scan the trees
continue to yell.
to make sure nothing
Twig!
else is coming?
Yeah, Twig and Nalfi and both of you can go ahead and make a perception check as you're trying to be extra cautious, keeping an eye out for anything.
Well, I'm distracted because there's a loud motherfucker in my ear.
Okay, so Twig moving away from Grok was a good idea because Nalfian, you can hear nothing. As Grok is just shouting at between Twig and you to drink his ale, he's just not catching it. You're not catching anything at all. Twig, however, it seems as though you are alone for the time being. You don't hear any other people aside from the 4 that are in front of you. However, you do hear quite a few crows in this area, just constantly cawing, one after the other, almost calling and then listening and then saying something back. You're not well versed in small beast speech, but it sounds like they're talking. You just don't have any idea about what.
Can Malfian see her from over where he's standing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, as they're staring at a flower, Malfian's gonna go over here. And he's gonna kind of he's very tall. He's like 6'6". He's very tall, so he's just gonna kind of squat down to Twig. Even though she had her crossbow pointed at them, he doesn't give a shit. And he's just gonna say, "Well, sure seemed like you know how to use that. You're right."
She's just gonna be as he's come up to her, just turn her attention towards him, still with crossbow up. She'd kind of put it down as she was watching around, but she's got it raised up, pointing right at him, kind of shaking a little bit.
I will be fine once we get out of this area. I don't think it's a good idea to be here.
Right. And you just came from a temple, you said.
Oh, no. The other person did, but I'm from around here.
Bit young to be fighting skeletons, don't you think?
Well, I have never really needed to before.
Right. Nalfian Benir, the pleasure is certainly all yours. And he'll extend his hand to her.
She's gonna look at it.
He's gonna do that thing where you go to shake someone's hand, but then he's gonna smooth his hair back. Well, well met, I see. It's nice to see a young lady who knows how to defend herself.
Guess.
She's just gonna kind of like awkwardly walk away, just like try to tune into what those crows are doing a bit more.
Okay. All right. So, Nalfian, do you hang out over there on the fringes of the grove, or do you head back?
She's gonna like just kind of observe her for a second, not in a weird way, but just like something about her reminds him of something. So he's just gonna stand there for a second before turning back to look at the rest of the group, trying to make the connection between her and Grok, which doesn't make sense in his mind yet. But he's just kind of standing there, hands crossed over his chest. He's not much for staring at flowers.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So, Grok, we'll go ahead and jump to you. So, it seems as though these skeletons, they really only have, at least your first glance, they have these rusted out short swords, rusty arrows, well-worn bows that are practically falling apart, especially when you go to handle them. But the thing that you find on all of them, you don't really... you don't find gold or silver or platinum. Instead, what you find are, on each one of them, you find a coin made out of the same thing as your anchor, either iron or steel. Each one with these weird, intricately carved holes and different etchings on them. Looks like there are vines and a book, and on the opposite end there are a very odd-looking symbol carved into it. So each one of the skeletons has one of those. If you would like to take all 8 of them, or all 7, I mean.
I would, and I'd also be kind of like pulling off any good quality bones.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of them are shattered just from the damage you did, but I'd say you could probably get like good quality bones.
Like anything that's not just like completely knackered.
Yeah. We'll say you could get like 12 good quality bones. Like and they're like an assortment, like a flower bouquet. It's like
that's fun.
Yeah. Okay. So let me go ahead and add this to your journal real quick. Whoa. Alrighty.
While
So
they're doing that. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, do you share that with everybody, Grok, or are you keeping that to yourself?
I'd be keeping it to myself, but I wouldn't be necessarily hiding that, but I wouldn't be offering it unless someone asked.
Okay. Well, it looks like everybody else is pretty preoccupied. And yes, Eurydice, you go ahead and make a nature check for me. So, Grok, I'm going to go ahead and put that in your journal, and I believe I'm just going to show it to you right there.
Of all the things.
Okay. Eurydice, as you are looking at the flower, trying to study it, crouching, thinking about anything you would have worked with Connoisseur Balasar, you just keep rubbing your hand. And there's just, I don't know, a feeling that you get. It might be from the tendrils from the skeleton, as that's still not something that's ever really happened to you. Yet, and you feel your palm, and there is just one small spot on your palm where the rest of your skin is sort of returned to normal, but there's one small spot on the center of your palm that is staying that darkish gray color, and that one small spot is kind of throwing you off a little bit as you rub it, looking at the flower, only thinking about the spot on your arm or on your palm, really not about the flower at all.
Hey ladies, how's staring at a flower coming along?
So?
Hey, this guy, I guess.
So, with that, Izzy, that's about when your detect magic triggers, finishing up your ritual cast. It is a magical flower. That much is very obvious to you after you finish casting detect magic, and you can see that it glows a very it has two different glows to it. There is energies of red and black to it. Energies of necromancy and energies of evocation.
Well, the flower is magical. Very dangerous.
You don't say.
It's, well, it's very bad. It has necromantic aura coming off of it, as well as evocation, which, for those of you who are not gifted with magic, is things like fire and dangerous magics.
Right. She's gonna look
Right.
at Grok. Like, do you know what your temple were planning to do with this?
No, no. I think Bizarra said it's meant to be some cure for some illness, like.
Right.
Don't know how, like, but you know, not my place to say, really, innit? I'm just the hand that gets it, like.
DM, weren't we told that it could be like a powerful poison?
Yeah, you were told that it was very dangerous and it could be used to do a lot of harm.
Yeah, the last house that this was just notes that the house in Markle, apparently they used it for, I wrote down nefarious means, and then the house completely disappeared. So we were given like basically the opposite kind of information. Out of character.
Well, this flower is dangerous. We were told it could be used for very evil means. I don't see how a cure could come of this.
I will say, Izzy, you do know that things like cure wounds and healing word are evocation magic, because it's evocation is drawing energy from other planes, and so evocation can be used for healing, drawing energy from the positive energy planes. So.
Okay.
There is that. The necromancy definitely throws you off a little bit. There's not a lot of good necromancy does. I mean, you do know a very because you are very astute and very intelligent. Things like raise dead and revivify. These magics that literally bring people back from the dead, and not through a necromancy, a way of traditional necromancy where, they're zombies, but they return them to life. However, you do know those things, but typically necromancy and evocation together is not a good thing. But you do know that there may be something else there. It's just a little confusing.
Well, can't we just cut it out the ground and be on with it?
I don't think that'd be a good idea. I think it's better to just leave the flower there and for us to leave as well.
Yes, but little lady, we were told to make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. If we just leave it out here, someone could come stumbling upon it.
Listen,
People don't come out here though.
Ethan seems interested in it.
I'm sound to take off. I'm not asked me, like.
I still think we should maybe just destroy it. It seems dangerous.
That also doesn't sound like a very good option.
I don't think leaving it here is an option, really. How do we plan on moving it if we can't touch it?
I can't identify it without touching it, which could be deadly.
I mean, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, love, but I'm just saying, I can dig out a good 2 feet of fucking dirt and carry it like I'm not arsed.
See, that's what I was thinking.
And he turns and says, listen, he gets it.
This guy.
Right?
I'm not sure I introduced myself. Nalfi and Benair, the pleasure, I think, is mine this time.
Oh, changing his tone.
Grok kind of like burps and goes, sorry, better out than in. Grok.
Grok, I have a feeling we're going to be the best of friends. And Nalfin's just going to, like, pat him on the shoulder.
Right, shall we do this? And he pulls out his anchor. not used it. Not used it as a spade before, but it can't be hard. Might want to back up, like.
Yes.
Nalfin's going to step out of the way.
It's gonna step up next to Nalfian, give herself a good distance.
And yeah, he'd kind of just go to town on this part of the ground.
Alrighty, yeah, you dig up and around near the flower, making sure to carve off enough area, and easily enough you're able to lift it up and hold it.
See, absolute genius, me.
Nalfian is, like, clapping. But, like, soft, like, golf claps in the corner.
Grok, as you are holding it, the soil is beginning to kind of seep into your arms, and you can feel that the dirt is beginning to just kind of... It's not the sturdiest thing. You're not sure exactly how long it's going to stay like this, but at least for a little bit.
Right. This isn't particularly stable, so I best be off, like...
Maybe we should go with him and just see what they end up doing with the flower.
I agree.
Listen,
No,
you know, you lot have clearly got more book smarts than me. I've read a couple books, but they're more like shanties.
Nalfian is just laughing.
So, you know, if you've got questions of... Sorry, love?
They hired you for retrieving something important?
They hire me for a lot of things, like... are you looking? Sorry, like I said to your till friend, Grok.
Oh, I'm Izzy. I run a small stall in the mercantile place.
Listen, I might be thick as pig shit, but I got a hammer as hard as I've got a hand as hard as a fucking hammer.
I think this has been one of the best days of my entire life.
Well, maybe we should return with you and we can deliver this flower and see what they intend to use it.
That sounds good, and I'm gonna do kind of like that walk that Homer does when he's got the cowboy hat, like
Oh my
secret
God.
camera, like trying to not like drop all this dirt.
Nalfian was just, like, chuckling to himself the entire way. Who also couldn't be... Go ahead.
I think that I might be able to get at least something to put it in if we, well, head back my way first.
You got have you got like a barrow near your cabin, like a wheelbarrow?
I think there's something.
Alright, little lady, lead the way.
Let's start walking along then.
Okay. Alrighty, sounds good to me. So you start heading along the road, heading back towards, or not along the road, but taking the same path that you took to get here. And you all can see as you're heading back and getting back into the forested area away from this clearing, you can see that the path that Twig is having you all take, I mean, all of you, the three of you who didn't come with her originally, you can tell that she's very knowledgeable about these forests from the ways that she's, granted very meekly, but still that she's telling you to avoid certain things or making sure that you're walking in a very specific way to avoid different sinkholes and roots that are sticking up out of the ground that are kind of covered by grass and leaves that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. So you're very easily able to traverse, much easier than you were before, when it was just the three of you making your way through. And it's honestly kind of impressive for someone so young to be so knowledgeable about something like this. But eventually you make your way from the forest, making your way, and still hearing the calling of crows. It seems to not go away. It seems to just be following you until eventually the villa is in sight. And you can see the small open-air building around a small clearing of trees. And slightly in the distance, you can see the gates that lead in to Sand Point. So I'm going to go ahead and move everybody to the map of Sand Point here. So the villa is spot number 10, right up in that top hand corner. Okay, so as all of you get there ready to head inside to figure out what the next step is and figure out a safer way to transport this flower than having Grok carry a mound of dirt, we're going to go ahead and take a break right there, since I have a feeling that the next things to come are we probably want the full time, the full rest of the time to do. So with that, we're no longer in that area. We can go in here. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching so far. Do not tune out yet. We're just going to go on a quick 5-minute break. We'll be back then. Go use the restroom. Go get some water. Go do whatever. Eat some candy. It's Halloween after all. By the way, happy Halloween. So yeah, we'll be right back. If you are enjoying the stream, leave a follow. We actually just hit 50 followers, crazy enough. So it'll be nice to keep adding to the pile. Nice to get a lot of people involved in this. Okay, so we will be right back, and we will see you then. All right, to the break. Hello, and wait a second. And aha, there we go. Now we are back. Now we're good to go. We're vibing here, killing the game. Alrighty, so welcome back, everybody. Happy to have you back. Why does my voice sound like that? There we go. That's normal. So we are back from our break. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your break. I did. I ate some potatoes and sausage, and I got more water. And also, because I'm addicted to caffeine, I have another energy drink that doesn't have a brand. I'm just kidding. I just don't know. I don't know.
You're so bad at these.
What do you mean I'm so bad? It's
I love your intros. They're my favorite thing because they're so rambly.
Yeah, that's how I get into the mood of DMing. Is I ramble, I get all the weird energy out, and then I'm senior storyteller. Why
That's
senior?
my favorite DM ever.
Aw, thank you.
You're my husband, so I have to say that.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm so mean. I love you. You're doing great. You're doing great. Just stops.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm just never gonna talk again.
No. Well, it's not gonna work because you have to play, so you're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. Okay. Anyway, let's dive back in here, ladies and gentlemen. So last we had left up, picking up right where we left off. All of you had fought the skeletons outside the jurisdiction of Sandpoint in that grove. Wonderful amounts of lilies in there, but your one lily you were the one lily you were looking for, you found. The one of red and yellow, larger than the rest. So, you all then gather the flower. You ascertain that it is a combination of necromantic and evocation magic. You're not sure exactly to what point. However, Eurydice, you do know that when you went to go touch it, it did have an adverse reaction to you grabbing hold of it. So to get past this grok, you scooped it up, bare hands, took 2 feet of dirt around it, and you proceeded to make the 2-3 hour jaunt back to Sand Point. You eventually return to the villa, in which belongs to, at least as far as all of you know, belongs to Twig. And with that, standing outside now, maybe 15 minutes outside of the city, are all of you just heading straight in? Or Twig, did you have some, did you want to address them before they entered your house?
She's just gonna kind of like, once I get there, gonna look back at them.
I think it'd be better if you'll just wait here.
And then she's gonna go in and try and find, like, I don't know if there's any like pots around. She'll just like empty out whatever's in it and then like bring it out. Or if she can't find any of that, like a vase or bowl, whatever she can find.
Okay, yeah, no, you can definitely find like a potted plant in there. Do you just dump it out on the ground, like inside the house?
No, outside the house.
Okay.
But like...
All right. So just making sure. I didn't know how much of a chaotic cat you were going to be about this. Okay. So you head inside. You get a flower pot. You dump it out outside. Now you return. Easy enough. I mean, you know this place pretty well. You come back outside with your empty flower pot.
You can put it in here.
Just gonna hold it out to Krog.
My hands are full, love. Can you just put it down for us, like?
Oh, right.
Just places it down.
I don't even feel like Grok would be careful trying to put this in. I think he would just try and just twat it in there.
Go ahead for me and just make a dexterity check just to see, because it's going in there regardless, but it'll just determine how pretty it goes in.
Just launches it. Kobe.
Just a straight dex roll.
Yeah, just straight dex.
Oh.
The flower is half buried under dirt in the pot. However, as you toss it down in there and it gets sort of covered in dirt, you can see the flower just kind of push its way out, so it is sitting on top of the dirt.
Nah, I don't know much about flowers, but I don't think they do that.
Not typically,
generally.
no, that's kind of weird.
There is something very wrong about that flower.
Are you sure I can't just destroy it?
I mean,
I feel like tampering with such a thing is only gonna call upon worse to come to us.
honestly, you're welcome to talk to the bishop. Like, she's the one who sent me, and obviously I brought Twiggy. So, I mean, I couldn't care about the flower, like. But if you don't think it's going to the right place, then you talk to her.
Okay.
Well, personally, we've already been paid, so
Yes, but we have a duty of some sort of care and to actually make sure good things happen with the flower.
oh, you're so pure. You'll just like nudge her on the chin.
Thank you. Anyway,
Wait, you guys are
We'll
getting
be-
paid?
Are you not?
I'll be completely honest, lad. Couldn't remember to tell you. I certainly hope so. Oh, hold on. And he pulls out his big, like massive jam jar glasses. Right, I wrote Lily, alternate, red and yellow. No, shit. Nothing about gold. Shite.
well, it could be because we were sort of hired on a different basis to come and find the flower.
I'd like to say I'm not bitter, but I am.
People there about it.
Grok, just real quick, I'd like you to make. Well, you know what? Actually, there's no check necessary because you are a man familiar with the seas, and you are somebody who is familiar with the type of people that exist on the seas, and your initial reaction about Captain Hugo was correct earlier, but the more time that you've had to, you haven't been thinking about it, but it's kind of just been gnawing at the back of your mind, trying to think about where you know that name from, and especially that frigate and the bright colors, and that guy's a pirate, and you know that without a doubt, and you know that there was some contention amongst the other sailors in Sandpoint because they were very uncomfortable, even just for a few days, having somebody as skeevy and apparently as cruel as him in this city. You know that there was talk of tonight, if he wasn't gone, of the militia storming his ship. At least that was last you heard.
Okay. I'd be kind of like, as I kind of pat this, dirt down and be careful not to touch it, I'd be like, that lad that sent you, do you know who he is?
Not an idea.
No.
He paid us, so
Oh, I bet he did. Trust me. Oh, I'm sure he did. Did he pay you well?
quite well.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Do you know he's a pirate?
He's a what?
Would I have known that he was a pirate at all? Being a merchant.
I don't think that you would be more familiar with pirates that have made their renown in Iverion. He's a Tarkirian pirate, which is kind of a double dirty word because he's from another nation and he's also a pirate. So you would be familiar, at least with the name Captain Hugo. But I mean, he did get, approval and good recommendation from Magus Cassius. So you would probably know that. That he's a pirate, yeah. But with the recommendation
just
from
has no look
Magus,
of I don't care on his face. Like he's confused as to why this makes a difference.
He was a pirate?
Aye. I mean, pretty good one, like. I mean, lads I used to sail with, rest their souls. They've they've told me tales. I've heard of him. I mean, I wouldn't be so nefarious to say we were more privateers, like. But he's a particularly nasty fucker, that one.
So why would a pirate care about the well-being of others?
Exactly. Now, I'm taking it to a temple, and you've been told, don't let it fall into bad hands by a fucking pirate. Now, I ain't the sharpest tool. That's a bit weird.
Does damage his integrity?
But we got paid.
Do you not care at all where the money came from?
Well, I have it. So now it's mine. So it doesn't matter. And the flower's going to a temple. What could be a better hands than that of holy men?
I suppose, but maybe still best to just check. They could be making a mistake.
Listen, like I said, you're free to sort us to the bishop. I'm just doing my duty.
Also, you mentioned that you were a bit bitter and, well, I'm not feeling so great about this money anymore. And she gives him 20 gold of the stuff that she got.
Oh. Okay. Are you sure about that?
Yes, of course.
Grok takes some of the money and bites it.
it is real. No chocolate coins here.
Sorry, my manners. Twig. And he gives
Yes.
Twig 10 gold.
Thank you.
Oh, so cute.
Well, are we
I
going to go to this?
honestly don't really use gold that much, though.
I mean, I'm happy to take it back.
No, I'll keep on to it.
Aye. Right. Shall we get moving?
I think that would be best.
Where is this temple, by the way?
Right. If we just pass through the gates, it's right in the centre of town, just up from the docks, like.
In the center of town?
Aye. Right near the markets and the plateau.
Right.
Can't miss it. It's a big fucking tower.
Does Twig look uncomfortable with the idea of going into Big Town?
I'll just
Oh.
like pull out the side of her hood slightly.
She's gonna be like, Twig, do you want... Your name was Twig, wasn't it? That's what he was shouting. Come
Yes.
walk with me.
I thought we were all walking together.
Yes, but I was thinking maybe we distance ourselves a little bit from the rather loud boys.
Loud? I think I'm great company.
They're
Oh.
not really what I'm worried about.
Speaking aloud, if you see some angry-looking sailors, I might have thrown a pig at them. So
Things like that is more what I'm worried about.
Oh,
Sure.
little lady, we'll make sure there's no pigs thrown at you.
Because that's what she's worried about.
So much face palming. So much face palming when you're at Suzanne.
Well, shall we go, or are we going to sit here all day?
I don't know. He's just got kind of like gingerly at the bottom of this this pot, holding it with both hands like a child.
Well, let's go.
Alrighty. So the 5 of you head into the... So you're moving together as one collective unit. All 5 of you kind of clump together.
Yeah.
I don't know about clumped, but yeah, we're together.
Okay, yeah, not super close, but not so far away that people would suspect that you're 2 different groups
I mean,
of people.
Nelfian would like position himself where he's near Eurydice and Twig.
Okay. All right.
Twig's just gonna be watching Grok with that bloody flower.
And Grok wouldn't take offense. I mean, he's a hobgoblin, so he's kind of used to people being like,
Okay. Alrighty. So, with that, I will say at about this point, it's getting near. All of you had left the area around noon, and 2.5 hour walk there, 2.5 hour walk back. It's around 6-7 p.m. now, especially after finishing up that conversation. So you're heading in right at the evening. The town is getting a little bit more raucous. Luckily, Nalfian, you know that you didn't have any fights scheduled for the rest of today. You had just one fight in the morning. That was against the shield. So you're free for the rest of the night. You know you have nothing to worry about there. So, as the 5 of you continue to make your way down south of the city and then headed towards the center of town, towards the temple, you end up passing through Shipwright Alley. So you can see that surrounding this area, there are, between the different types of trees focused in this area, there are a lot of pinewood trees. And you know that House Bartold is famous for 2 things. Their shipwright skills and the bows that they make. They are both very talented in those 2 areas. So, you begin making your way through this area, and you can see that most of the business has died down here, as it seems like most people have sort of headed off from work and are now headed to the tavern to drink, or to the temple to pray, or headed home for the day. So, you make your way down south, and then headed through the market, past the walled, fenced-in area right next to the market, in between that and the temple. Walls maybe 7 or 8 feet tall. Definitely too tall for any of you to look over. An area that is constantly patrolled and walked around, and made sure that nobody heads into this fenced-in area. You make your way around that suspicious place, and eventually you get to the temple. So, go ahead and move you all there. So as you arrive in the temple, as I said, there's one very large temple in the center, which serves as a spire and an area of prayer dedicated to all 9 of the divines, with smaller shrines and temples scattered throughout the larger elevated area. So, Grok, as you return, holding the potted plant with your companions behind you, you do see, approaching you as you enter the temple grounds, you see Priestess Aida make her way towards you. The ASMR woman, she smiles as she sees you and waves, and kind of slowly makes her way down, meeting you on the ramp up, and she says, well, Grok, it seems as though you were sent out to find... Oh, well, hello there. It's a pleasure to meet. I see you've made some friends in the forest.
you know me, charismatic as ever, like.
Well, it's nice to see that you are making friends and keeping them, as opposed to throwing pigs at them.
still an early evening.
Yes, I suppose it is. Well, I suppose then Bishop Vizira will be happy to see that you've returned with a flower. That's what you are after?
Aye, that's what the bishop asked me for. My friend, is it, and Eurydice?
Eurydice, yes.
Hello
That's
there.
what I said. Aye, they've got some word to the bishop, like they're not quite so sure. They've got all them, magics and that.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, please, I won't hold you back any longer. Grok, whenever you get a moment after you get done talking to her, there's something I'd like to talk to you about. Whenever you get a moment.
Oh, aye.
Well, sorry. Please. I'm sure Bishop Vizera will be happy to see that you've accomplished your task. So she steps out of the way and she gives a smile to you, Grok, and turns around and heads off towards the different shrines and temples, seeing if there's anybody who needs any help, and leaving the 5 of you to be able to head up to the main spire, where Bishop Vizera, Grok, where you know that she is at. So, you make your way up the different sets of stairs and ramps, and eventually making your way to the main temple, the main spire. And you can see that a not very overly done or overly decorated area. It is fairly bare bones on the inside, with some tapestries depicting the different deities, and underneath those tapestries are small shrines dedicated to them. Whether it be the sun for Palor, a raven for the Raven Queen, a thunderbolt for Cord, they're all there, being in the temple. So, you make your way in, and you can see that kneeling near a shrine to Bahamut, the profile aspect of a dragon, the platinum dragon. You can see the green dragonborn woman kneeling, her eyes shut, and fiddling with something in her fingers. As the footsteps approach, and definitely Grok, she hears your footsteps as soon as they enter. Whatever she was fiddling with, she tucks it into her jacket, and you can see her sort of struggle to get up, grabbing her cane, pulling herself up, and then slowly beginning to meet you in the middle. And as you approach, she looks at the collection of people behind you, and looks a little quizzical at Twig, and then looks back to you and looks at the plant. And you can see a very slight grin creep across her face as she smiles and says, "You did it. I see you have the flower. You found it."
Well, I'd like to say I found it, but as you can see, I've got some company, like, and
Yes.
Now, I do want to ask a question before I pass you over to my friends here.
Of course.
That grove. How long's it been there?
Well, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I know that mayhaps I recently got word that the flower was near here from an individual, and, well, I would say no more than 3 or 4 days.
No, right.
And
Weird.
Yes, I kicked around other ideas of people to ask, but as you know, and as I'm sure you experienced, the areas outside of the walls of Sandpoint can be fairly dangerous.
I mean, I'd say so. There's fucking skeletons.
There were what?
Hold on. They were skeletons, right? I'm not...
Yes, they're skeletons raised probably by necromancy. Would be my guess. I don't know for sure, but it's usually safe to assume.
Yes,
And,
of course.
Now, I do want to be honest. My friend here says this flower's full. What did you say? No more, no more Mackie.
Necromantic energy.
Aye, no more Mackie. Yeah, that one. And he kind of like dumps the plant pot into Izzy's hands.
Yes.
My friends here, Eurydice and Izzy, have a few questions like because you see, me and Twig got there, and then these lot were asked to look for it and all.
You were also asked to look for it?
Yes. Like, trusted friend.
Well, I wouldn't say friend.
Well, no, for me, a trusted friend went and told me to take this job. And I was curious, how did you find out the flower was in the grove? You said somebody told you?
Yes, with everything that has been happening here in Sandpoint, and in Sailor Shade and Water's Edge, I thought it would be best to begin looking for remedies to the sicknesses that have been coming up. And in my studies and my readings, I read of a lily with red and yellow petals that could, if used correctly and refined correctly, could reverse even the worst of a disease or a sickness. So I began to ask questions, even to places where I do not typically fraternize. I asked those who exist in the darker parts of Sandpoint, and I eventually received my answer.
And who provided you that answer?
An information broker of sorts.
And your intent with this flower is to help people?
Well,
Not harm them or poison them?
no, of course not. I have spent many years with the thoughts and feelings of people ahead of my own. Everything in my life I've done so far has been in in pursuit of helping others.
My insight too, just because I'm scared.
Of course, yeah. Somebody's got to roll above a 10 eventually.
Eventually, yeah. We'll see if that happens if my sheet ever opens. Yeah, I love roll 20. When it takes a million years.
Yeah, roll 20 is the best when it decides to be a butthead.
Pretty sure it's frozen too.
That's
just
beyond.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's frozen.
Okay. Well, yeah, when it works, you can go ahead and roll then, and
When it works.
we'll come back then. So, Nalfian, Izzy, the two of you, I mean, there is a little bit of distrust there just because of her being a chromatic dragonborn. And both of you know the tales, the balance that is meant to be kept. Oh, well, yeah. Eurydice, you're right in the same boat. And you being here, Eurydice, you are especially uncomfortable. You can see you and Nalfian are definitely sharing some of the same nervous energy in here. And yeah, the balance that is meant to be kept between chromatic and metallic dragonborns. There's always a pair for the other one. One who is supposed to find the other one and make sure that their nefarious evil deed cannot be done. But the thing is, I mean, Izzy, in the time that you've been here, and Eurydice in the time you've been here, and Nalfian in the time you've been here, although you don't like coming to the temple, you know that Bishop Vizira has done nothing but try and help people since she's been here. Anybody in town has nothing but good things to say about her. She always tries to put others before herself. At least, so when you start to have those thoughts and feelings about distrusting her because she's a chromatic dragonborn, you begin to feel bad. Because you know that she's never done anything, and anything that she says in that moment seems truthful. It seems like she really does just want to help people.
Okay, Izzy will kind of look still a little confused, and will say, "Well, I only asked because we were told that House Markle, which is now gone, used to use it for really, really bad things. And I was just concerned for everybody's safety. You know, if everybody dies, I have nobody to help identify things for and help the people myself."
Of course, my dear, and you can see her sort of, her neck extend a little bit as she looks around. And at mentioning the name Markhold, you can see there are a couple people within earshot who kind of, their eyes dart towards you, and then they begin to slowly move away. And she says, "Please, follow me and we can discuss things a little more. Any of you are free to come, but I have a feeling that Izzy is the one who's the most interested."
What?
Oh, I always forget that that's a bad word.
You're all right, my dear. I just know that if you would like to have more information, I'd be happy to give it to you. It's just... she kind of leans in towards you, Izzy. There are certain people who are rather uncomfortable with the name being thrown around too freely.
Yeah, sorry.
You're fine. So, for anybody who wants... please, follow me and I'll elaborate. She clears her throat and she begins to turn and slowly walk her cane.
Nalfian will sigh and follow.
Tapping, okay. And
Grok
Grok...
hesitates, but because everybody else is going, she goes too.
Grok, Grok and Twig, are you guys going as well?
Yeah, Twig's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, but kind of like half paying attention and kind of drinking his warm ale out of this water skin.
Okay. And Grok, you recognize the place you're going. You were in here just earlier this morning. So you head back through a small corridor and eventually into a small, very clean, with not very much of anything in it aside from a desk and a bed and a dresser. As she takes you all in and all of you kind of spread out in the room, she shuts the door behind her and she begins to talk. World. There we go. So as she is talking to all of you, she starts and says, "I'm sorry for the seeming covertness of all of this. That name carries much weight in this city, and many people are fairly uncomfortable with it. Rightfully so. The name Markle carries dark words and dark feelings with it. Whoever sold you on this retrieval of this item is correct. The flower was once used by House Markle. In fact, that was where I read about it. In tomes that they used for nefarious means. But I found a way that, through much experimentation and analysis, that that flower, instead of being used in a destructive way, it could be used to help people. As I'm sure you know, Izzy, although the flower itself is associated with death and destruction, as I'm sure if you tried to grab the flower you would understand.
Yes, one of our party members had a small lapse of judgment and tried just that.
There was a lot happening, and I was just trying to do something, I suppose. And she just holds up her hand and shows the little spot.
And you can see that there is this twisted look that comes over her face, and she kind of, an eye twitches a little bit. She almost like, not cowers, but she has a very adverse reaction to it. It says, we'll have to see about getting that fixed, dear.
Is it very bad?
I'm not sure. And when there's something that I don't recognize, I fear greatly for it. I've been alive a long time, and I have seen many terrible things, and I've never seen something like that before. But don't worry. I'm sure we can figure out what the issue is. Anyway, although the flower can be used for death and destruction, you can spark the opposite reaction from it. Necromancy can be used to bring back life, and evocation can be used to restore life. I have a feeling that with enough time, I could find a way for those confronted with this sickness and eventual death, that I might be able to help them. I myself have never done anything great in my life at all, and this might be my one chance to do something noteworthy.
I see. DM question. That book of lore I've got, did that pertain to this at all?
The book of what?
Lore?
Like, is that a thing in your,
It's in my inventory. I'm not playing. There, but I'm not sure what it was either.
No, you're good. I think that it was probably just from your starting equipment. So you would have a little bit of knowledge of House Markhold. I mean, most information about that house has been kind of, swept away and kind of torn out of books. There is some stuff, about nefarious deeds and wrongdoings and cut ties and betrayal. But in terms of specifically what they did, you don't really know anything from those books. I will say that she did say that it was an old tome, and it was something that probably took a lot of effort for her to get her hands on. So while you're familiar with House Markhold at least a little bit, and a little bit more than most other people are, still there's not as much information that you would wish to have on it.
Well, as lovely as this sentiment is, sir, payment for the delivery of said flower, and if not, is there anything else that you could give us to do that includes payment, or would you like to tell us more about your heroic deeds?
Sorry, I did not mean to be carried away. Excuse an old woman and her ramblings. Of course, originally payment was only for the ranger, which I had no idea that you were you, but the payment was only for the two, but I could see if I could work something else.
Oh, you mean
out.
this little lady here, who looks to Twig?
Yes, I didn't realize that the one who knows the wild. Of course. Well, please, wait out in the main chapel area, and I'll be sure to bring your money to you, and I'll see if there's anything else you might be able to do for the temple, or for the town, for that matter. If you'd be willing to help.
I'm happy for work. Always love to learn new secrets, see new magical things. Payment's not required for me though. I've been settled.
Okay, of course. And for you, you had worked with Connoisseur Balasar, correct?
Yes, I did. I don't need payment either. I'm all right, thank you.
Are you positive? I have a feeling that if not for the rest of you, I had no idea retrieving this flower would be so dangerous. I have a feeling that our ranger and brave Grok here might not have made it back without you. If you're positive, the temple could always use more donations, but I would almost feel better if you kept the payment.
If you insist, I do not want to be rude.
Of course.
I will say we weren't quite expecting skeletons when we were asked to go and deal with the flower.
No, my dear, neither was I. I'll be sure to go that way with some priests and priestesses and make sure that there's not something anchoring them. Last thing I want is some poor innocent deer being slaughtered by undead. The last thing we need. Well, please, head out to the main area, and I'll be there momentarily with your payment. Need a moment to check the temple's coffers and see what we can spare. And
will put out as asked.
So, sorry, what was that?
Izzy will head out.
Okay. By the way, Izzy, you would notice the flipping of the coin. It's not something that's, he's not trying to hide. I would say all of you can see him flipping it, but, to most of you, it doesn't look any different. Izzy, you're just very familiar with coin shapes and sizes. And that is, that's not a normal one.
Okay. If Grok is following us out, I wait till we get out to the main hall and ask him if I can see one when we get there.
So, does anybody else have anything they want to say to Bishop Zero, or is that it?
Nope.
Okay, alrighty. So you head out, door shutting behind you, making your way back out in the main chapel area. So, Grok, you are asked for a coin.
Hi, Grok. What do you got there? That coin looks a little unusual. Do you mind if I just look at it? I'm just curious.
Oh, aye. One of the skeletons had it, it looked a bit weird, so, I figured mine.
Well, of course. I just want to look at it.
No offense taken. It's a bit of a weird one. And I'll hand over the coin.
All right. Mr. Dean, what the heck am I looking at?
Yeah, here, I'll go ahead and add it to your journal as well. It is a very odd iron coin. So, Izzy, save changes. Show to players. Alrighty, should have just popped up on your screen.
Oh.
So
that's not a good sound.
That's definitely not a good sound.
The symbols, you do recognize, you see the books and the vines, and then there's the symbols on the back, but honestly, there is no depth or corner of your mind, your knowledge that you have that would lead you to believe this is anything. You really have no idea what this is.
Do I understand the languages written on it by chance?
No, the only difference between this art is the print is more well-worn. They're very, very old iron coins. They're rusted in spots. I will say, what languages do you know?
Common, Draconic, and Elvish.
Okay. What is left doesn't seem to match the script of any of those.
Okay. And does this seem to be arcane in any sort?
Make an Arcana check. Honestly, no, not really. It just seems like a really dull, dense, very, very dense iron coin.
What?
But yeah, no magic really.
I don't recognize it, and I don't know what it's from. Maybe I'll do some research on it later. But here you go.
Oh no! If you want to research it, then you keep hold of it. Just remember where you got it from.
Oh yeah, of course. I know the perfect place to store it where it'll be safe. And she will stick her hand up to the brim of her hat, and you'll see from the top of her head 2 little purple claws take it and throw it in there. And a light purring sound coming from her hat.
Can I just ask what's in your hat?
Oh well, it's my longtime friend of 20 years. She's a familiar. If you know what that is, basically a small dragon who is honestly my best friend.
Oh, well, that's adorable.
Keep anything else up in that hat?
Well, not that I'm ready to show you. And she'll kind of smile awkwardly.
Unprompted, Grok will respond to Albion and say, "I've got jerky in my bag."
That's great, friend. That's real great to know.
Jesus, if you're so interested, what do you keep up in that man bun of yours?
Oh, I can show you if you'd like.
I
And
think-
Alfred will literally slide in closer.
Grok will walk past
Why
and
do
say,
people keep things on your head?
as Grok will pass, he'll go, "It's hair."
Does Twig have a piece of parchment on her forehead?
Oh yeah.
Okay, as soon as she says that, nothing's gonna look to her. At first, he's puzzled, but then he's just gonna smile and he'll say, "And little lady, what is this on your head? You keep something there too, I see."
Well, yes, but it's a bit different. I feel it's for protection.
Protection from what?
Well, from anything. From fate.
See. Well, you obviously seem to be better prepared than all of us.
Agreed.
Well, I wouldn't want to not be.
Joe, is that lady gonna bring us money, or did she say we were free to go?
No, she said she just wanted you guys to wait out there for a moment. She'd be back with some payment.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, we're all standing around awkwardly. Eurydice is going
Nalbian's
to...
not awkward. He's just hanging out, man.
Yeah, very close to Eurydice.
He's just vibing.
Yeah, he's just vibing. You wanted to see his hair.
Okay, alrighty. So you guys hang out there for a moment, and eventually, some time passes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but Bishop Vizira does re-enter the main chapel area, and she seems to have some small pouches in her hands as she carries, and Cain tapping over towards you as she walks along. And eventually, as she gets right up in front of you, she hands each one of you a small pouch, and she says, "I know that you all insisted on not being paid, but a tenet of the Platinum Dragon is that just action deserves just reward. And so I cannot in good conscience allow valiant acts and efforts to go unpaid. So, she hands each one of you a small pouch, and inside that small pouch is 10 gold pieces.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Of course. And she smiles, this very big, toothy. You can see some of the teeth are like a little brown and a little crooked in certain places. Definitely, she is a very old dragonborn. She still smiles. See a little bit of, quite a bit of happiness in her eyes, and she says, "Thank you all so much for what you have done. Hopefully soon, things will start to turn around. I would also like to say that, well, if you all would be interested, I know that, well, frankly, it seems as though serendipity and odd circumstances brought you together, but, the temple could always use more, heavy-handed individuals who might be able to help around. If you'd be willing to spare your time."
Did Iada mention the pig?
And also, heavy-handed. I'm more of a merchant.
Well, if you keep paying me, I'd be happy to.
Well, yes, not just heavy-handed, but also very bright. Seemingly people who are able to do good deeds and are okay with doing so. Of course, the payment would still come, depending on the task. It would vary. But if you're interested, I do have something that could see to your attention starting in the morning. If you'd be interested, and I don't say this to pressure you at all, but if you all were able to stand toe-to-toe with whatever undead that may be out there, well, frankly, I'm sure there's a lot of good you could do in this town.
Well, I'm listening.
I would say I am.
I love. You know where I'm living.
Yes, I do indeed. And she chuckles a little bit. If you all would like, there are some lodgings and accommodations here, or if you're willing to enter a semi-permanent contract with the temple, we could maybe find you lodging somewhere else. If you'd prefer not to be on hallowed ground. I know that's an issue for some people.
Yeah, I'd rather not stay here.
Oh,
Well, I've already got lodging. I don't need any.
if you're looking for a place to stay in Alfion, there's a lovely inn I stay. I've got a lovely view of my boat.
Where are you staying, friend?
Oh, it's this quaint little place called the Salt Shack.
Yeah, I'll have to pass on that. I have two lovely friends waiting for me back at my own.
Well, young Mistress Twig, might you be willing to, and I could always speak to, your aunt and uncle, but, it might save the temple some funds if they'd be willing, if you'd be willing, and as I said, aunt and uncle approve, to stay in the villa just outside of town with you. It would save the temple some funds, and that way none of you have to pay for any lodgings you're currently staying at.
Oh, well, I feel like I wouldn't have too much say in the matter, so I guess it's okay.
And she smiles again, and she says, "Thank you. Well, I will head to their manor, and I will ask myself, maybe a little elbow grease from
And
me.
What's this job in the morning?
Well, considering what you've told me about the about what you saw out there, there are some things that now make sense that have been coming from, and excuse my language, from the shites. Miners from the east side of town believe they've heard echoed calls and odd singing from inside the mines. I would pay all of you half in advance to investigate whatever those calls may be and see what exactly is happening in there. It may just be children playing a prank, or I suppose now it could be something worse.
You said weird calls coming from the cave?
Yes, the mines in town have, for the most part, been abandoned. Only some of the channels still active, but sometimes they hear from the deeper, darker parts of the mine. Some say that they hear a woman singing, kids playing, and then when they go deeper to investigate, there's nothing. And I know that might seem fairly alarming, but if all of you are able to face skeletons in the middle of a forest, hopefully that should be something easy.
Darkness and I are really good friends. I don't see a problem.
I might be willing to investigate that as well. And as for the semi-permanent contract, well, I do run my own business, but if you'd like to get me a copy of the contract, I'd at least look it over before making a hard decision.
Oh, of course, I will say that it would be more of a verbal agreement that, whenever you have time and if the temple needs something done, if it works within your, schedule, if it works within what you have going on, that you would accept the job.
Oh, that's basically what we're doing now. This doesn't sound like a contract to me. I'm sorry, I've been learning a lot from my teacher lately, and he's very, very harps on the fine details when it comes to when contracts are mentioned.
Oh,
I'd be happy
yes.
to at least look into the mines.
Wonderful. And believe me, when I was a younger woman, I was all about drafting up contracts and having the words state exactly what I needed, but I'll be honest, I'm too old to worry about it now. I would much rather shake hands and call it good.
It's fine. Well, I guess I will go to my lodges and have some stuff I need to prepare and copy down before I go into any mines.
Yes, if you all would like to head straight to the villa, I'll send Priestess Iada there in the morning to give you more information.
Oh, well, I have my own room. Just right next to the mercantile. I can head to the villa first thing in the morning.
You're telling me you don't want to spend the evening with me?
I have a feeling that Lizzie would sting you. And I would prefer not to have a new friend to get hurt.
Alright, fair enough.
I'm already dreading it. I envy you. So yes, I would stay away if I was you, Izzy.
I mean,
I'll
if
up to the villa.
share my room, Eurydice. Can I just call you Yuri? That's a hard name for me.
If you would like to, yes.
Great.
Where do you stay?
Joe, I'm a bad person, and I forgot the inn that I was staying in. So
You're staying at the Carp Cove.
I I'm staying at the Carp Cove, just outside the market square.
I'll
The offer. I think I'm okay.
I'll head up to the villa first thing in the morning. Like, I'm not leaving my boat.
Very well. Well, if there's nothing else that any of you need from me, I suppose I will, I suppose you'll see Priestess Aida in the morning then. Well, thank you all once again for your help. I am grateful, and the fact that you're continuing to help gives me faith.
Yeah, have a good night, and Izzy will head off as she has a busy night ahead of her.
Night.
Okay. Alrighty. So all of you, so Izzy heads off towards her tavern in order to gather some things and then head to bed and head to the villa in the morning. So is anybody heading to the villa tonight, or is it just Twig?
I think Nalfian will go, considering he remembered he told his 2 company to fuck off earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
I forgot that he did that, so he has nobody waiting for him.
Rudy's gonna go because she has nowhere else to stay.
Okay.
And as we're going, Nalfian will just kind of slide his 10 gold payment to Twig, if she'll take.
Well, I feel like I've already said I don't really need the gold. I don't exactly use it often.
Are you sure? This was your mission after all?
Not really, I was just asked to do it. The help.
Alright, how about this? You take 5 and I'll take 5, and we'll call it even there.
Okay.
And he'll just kind of give you a different kind of smile. Everybody else, he's been given very overdone, very extra, but he'll give you a genuine smile. And he'll just tuck his 5 gold away.
As we're all walking away, by the way, like we're all kind of splitting up to go our own ways, Eurydice is gonna nudge him, Nalfian, just say, "You okay? Just seem a little bit uncomfortable."
Oh, me? I'm always alright, dear. I just, I'm not a fan of temples and that kind of shit. It's not really something that works well with me.
Okay, I was just checking.
It's very kind of you. And he'll just walk a little closer.
Okay.
Imagine Twig's just out front, kind of oblivious to this.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good
It's safer.
to me. So, Grok and Izzy, the 2 of you head off in separate directions. Now, I did want to ask, is there anything, Izzy or Grok, that the 2 of you wanted to do specifically, or were you just kind of heading back to collect your things and staying the night there and then heading off in the morning?
If a blacksmith is still open, I need to stop by for some darts.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I'd be spending 2 hours before going to bed copying into my spellbook.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. So, how many darts did you want to get?
Well, they're really cheap.
Yeah, they're 5 copper.
Yeah, 5 darts would be fine.
Okay, yeah. So that is 2 silver, 2 silver, 5 copper. There you go. Alrighty.
Grok would definitely be heading to his ship.
Okay, alright. So we'll hop back to Nalfian and Eurydice and Twig. But for now, let's go ahead. So you head there, and then Izzy, was there anything else that you wanted to do, or?
Nope, just that's it.
Was it?
Darts, copy spell, and then probably just eat and go to sleep.
Okay, alrighty, sounds good. So then, Grok, what are you doing?
So first things first, I'm gonna kind of like climb into my boat, and make sure no one's around or looking.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check for me real quick. It's not very hard. You are really taking your time doing this. And, yeah, you're taking your time.
It's my fucking boat.
Yeah, you are the king of the world on this thing, and you are 100% positive, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that nobody is paying attention. Some people are walking by, but it's so dark outside by now that nobody is really caring at all what you're doing.
Then I kind of throw a tarp off of a chest in the boat that is bound by, like, literally 6 chains and 6 different padlocks.
Okay.
I open the chest and I say, "You all right, lads?" And I dip in and I just drop in the bones and the coins and say, "Got some treats for you. Till next time, lads." And yeah, I'll
Okay.
close that chest and kind of give it a good tap on the thingy and say in Goblin, "Nighty nights."
Okay, alrighty. And you can hear some chattering and clamoring from inside, some squeals, and then gnawing.
What?
And you can hear something that is very odd to you, but you hear this squeal as you're shutting the box. Good night, Daddy.
Oh my god. Oh.
Hey, it's enough lip out of you, lad. You be finding my treasure, else you'll be kiloed, aye.
No. Alrighty.
And I'll say, "Right, lights out," and I'll slap the top of the chest and padlock it back and chain it all up again.
Okay, alrighty. So you do so. Clink, 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 clink. Locking it all up. Heading off to sleep then, or was there anything else you wanted to do?
No, I'd be going back to the room and keeping an eye on my boat and going to sleep.
Alrighty. So, head off to sleep after you finish up that, seeming like nobody really clocked you there. So then you head off, and the room that you have on the second story of the Salt Shack, you can have a very clear sight of your boat, and you keep an eye on it right up until you fall asleep. So with that, we'll head now back to Eurydice, Nalfian, and Twig. So eventually the three of you heading back up north towards the villa. You do eventually get there. And you can see that there still is a mound of dirt left where Grok had dropped the flower and packed it in. Oh, actually, that was the one thing. You did give her the flower, correct? I guess nobody ever said that, but...
Oh yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I think Grok gave Sarah the flower. He dropped it in her hand.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so you can see the mound of dirt where Grok had left that. And definitely not cleaned up his mess, but it was outside, so it's fine. But with that, Eurydice, Twig, and Nalfian, you get back to the villa.
Twig's just gonna kind of like lead them inside. Just like do a very brief like.
There's food stores over there, and well, you can take these couple of rooms. But apart from that, please just be quiet. I don't like drawing attention to this place.
Your family owns this place.
Yes.
He'll just kind of like look around. I assume it's very nice, right?
I mean, yeah, it is. It is pretty nice. Yeah.
All right. He's thoroughly impressed. Well, it's very nice here. I see they take good care of you. Or is it you who takes care of them?
Oh, no, it's certainly they take care of me, at least my aunt.
Oh, I'm sure she's a lovely woman. He's like looking around as though she would come out of any corner, but it seems like the house is quiet, yeah?
Yeah, it seems like you three are the only people here right now.
Okay. What time is it?
At this point, it's probably maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Eventually making your way back here from the temple.
Well, Twig, thank you very much for opening house to me and Eurydice. I'm sure she is very grateful.
I am. Definitely. It's very, very lovely here.
And he will just kind of like look at Eurydice for a long while, look at Twig, as if he was going to say something but decided not to because Twig was standing there. Well, I suppose I will be off to sleep. Big day tomorrow after all. Good night, little lady. We'll just kind of like give her a nod of his head. Good night, little dove. Just wink at Eurydice.
Night, Nalfian.
My room's right here, just in case anyone needs me. And I'll look at Eurydice one more time.
Hello.
Good night. And then he'll go inside his room.
He gives him a hard look of, yeah, you have yourself on.
Before he
I'm
goes
just gonna
off...
turn around.
Oh,
and
sorry,
say,
go ahead.
Oh, go on.
Oh, nope, it's you. Go ahead.
She was just gonna say thank you to Twig. Start turning to go to her room.
Alrighty. So, you all head in your separate ways and heading off to the different, pointing out the different like guest bedrooms to them, Twig. They head up and they head away, and as you head into the kitchen, you can see that there's a small book on the table for you. It's old. It is definitely old enough where it has like one of the wooden spines with these sort of interlocking iron bits connecting the paper to the book. And there's a small note on it that says, Twig, thank you for trying. It means more to me than you could know. Love, Aunt B.
She's gonna just like excitedly just like take the book and go over to like where she keeps like everything that has like a little desk and like where she like draws out her little parchment things. She's just gonna start reading it.
Okay.
She's gonna try to read the whole thing.
So, the book is actually really interesting, and there's a lot of stuff in here that you had never read or heard or thought about even. You get about halfway through the book before eventually you just kind of pass out from exhaustion. You took quite a beating today. But the thing that's really interesting to you is it is a very old book of history about a group of dwarves back a very, very long time ago, when the nations of the world were divided by race as opposed to by cultures. There were apparently dwarves that existed in what would be modern day Iverion and Tarkir, where you're currently at, that were a specific type of dwarf. They would go by, instead of mountain dwarf or hill dwarf, they were considered the Dawi. And they were like mystics almost, where they would commune with the fates, and they would try their best to not just look into the weave and channel it, but to become one with it. So they could feel and sense everything, that they could use different runes and magics to see beyond and to see into. And you can tell that this book that you have is definitely like reading a history book, where all of this is very bland to most people, but to you, it's something. And there are, in this book, it talks of a couple of old strongholds that existed to the Dawi that, well, one of them is on this island. Another one is located on the peninsula near Castle Whetstone, and the other one is located in the north near White Harbor, which I don't believe there is a regional map here on the... No. So I'll go ahead and add those for you in a second, so that way you can know where those marks are on the map.
Wait, what was that last one, just real quick?
North of White Harbor.
Right.
But that's only getting halfway through the book. That's the sort of last bit that you're able to read about. And with that, you end up kind of falling over on top of your desk, crossbow next to you, passing out, book open, page is sticking to your face a little bit. So you fall asleep there, and sleep comes to you fairly quickly, and it almost seems as though you're woken up too soon. But I'll come back to that in a moment. So, which time do you have in the night? I'd probably say, you would maybe have 3 or 4 hours. Jareth?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to copy down some extra stuff, you could definitely do that.
Okay. I would probably just put some time into scrapping the scroll. It takes me a full day, so
Ah, okay. Alrighty.
I'll do a bit at a time and then lose all the gold.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me. So, is there anybody else doing anything else before they head off to bed, or is that it?
Go ahead, Lisa. I was cutting you off.
Oh, it's fine. Eurydice is mostly just going to try and scrub off the spot on her hand, even though it's probably not going to come off, and just sit there and be very uncomfortable with some of the things that happened today.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely something else. I'd like you to make, just real quick, go ahead and make a medicine check for me.
I think I even have proficiency in those because of things, so that might be nice. I do.
Okay, so very cool, very cool. So as you are scrubbing away, just trying to figure out a way to get this off, you do know that maybe there are some clerical magics that you've heard of, and not even very powerful ones. You just know that most priests or priestesses that perform it, anytime there are dark spots or what seem to be maybe infections of some kind, there are certain herbs that can help, but in all honesty, most of the time, priests or priestesses of Paylor, typically they have a good way of handling and dealing with infections that show themselves through darkness on the body, as they're all about bringing to light and restoring light.
Okay.
So you got that. So you settle in with that knowledge at least. And yeah, is there anything else?
Most just sitting and contemplating until it eventually goes to sleep.
Okay. So, eventually, sleep does find you. Now, Nalfian, I heard that you were getting ready to talk, so she eventually heads to sleep. Was there anything else you wanted to do that evening?
All he's gonna do is, underneath his leathers, he has like this very old, very like tarnished looking locket. He hasn't opened it in a few years, and he's just gonna kind of sit on the edge of the bed in this very strange new place that he finds himself in, and just kind of holds it in his hand and blocks out some memories and thinks about opening it but doesn't, and then he'll go to bed.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good to me. So, as you all head to sleep, there is one person who runs into some issues in their sleep. So, Eurydice, as you are heading off to sleep, studying that spot on your arm, hoping that you did recognize the woman who was talking to Grok last night. She wore an amulet, a talisman of Pelor, the Dawn Father. So there's hope that she might be able to do something, and she's the one who's coming in the morning. Light, finally. You can have somebody who can help you. And you eventually fall over on the very soft feather bed, curl up next to the blanket, and you shut your eyes. And sleep finds you, and most of the time you anticipate no dreams. I mean, that's been fairly common for the past, as far as you can remember. No dreams. Nothing of the sort. Just darkness. But this time, you can hear what almost sounds like thunder and lightning. But lightning already sounds adverse and like it's tearing. Like it's literally ripping apart the air in order to be there. But this is even more aggressive, as you are just sitting in darkness, waiting and hoping for something. And all you can hear is that aggressive tear, that roiling thunder. Never stopping. You try and open your eyes to try and see, and when you do, you wish you could open your eyes. Or you wish you could close them again, because when you open them, you see red streaks of lightning ripping apart the air, slamming into the ground. You see these large stone citadels, taller than any building you've ever seen in your entire life. And there is a balcony that you're standing on, looking over what looks to be destruction and madness all over the area in front of you. And as you're standing over the edge, looking at it, hoping to close your eyes, to open them, to be back where you were, it never happens. and you hear footsteps behind you, and when you turn, you see a man. You assume 4 horns on his head, 2 curving forward and then 2 curving back. And instead of hair, there is just a wreath of flame. Very finely made tabard and cloak covers his body. Very sharp fingernails on his hands. And the thing that bothers you the most is his eyes and his mouth. There's no light coming from the eyes. There's no pupils. There is just shadow. You would think for a creature wreathed in light that there would be something illuminating there, but his eyes and his mouth are just darkness. You know who this is. He stands there looking at you for a moment. And although you can't see his mouth, you can feel him smile while looking at you with those cavernous eyes. And you hear his voice echo around you.
Well, hello, Eurydice. I've missed you, my dear.
I didn't miss you.
Typically you don't. But that's alright. Do you see what progress I've been making here? Look, soon, maybe 100, 200 years, and it'll all be over. Soon enough, and this will all be mine. Not just mine, but yours as well, Eurydice.
She's like shaking her head and just looking away from him.
You don't have to say anything, Eurydice. I know what you think. I know how you feel about me. You wear it so boldly on your sleeve. So, I figured I should check in, see how you're feeling.
I feel the same as I always have with this deal. New things happened today that I can't say I'm particularly pleased with. Just let me go. Don't want to be here.
You know, that didn't run through your mind when I saved you originally. You made a deal, my dear, and there's no backstepping that now.
You took advantage.
No, I didn't. I merely gave you an out. And I'm giving you another one. Right now. He grabs your hand before you're able to jerk it away, looking at the gray spot on your hand. I suppose you don't wish to know anything about this and you just prefer me to get rid of it.
You could just get rid of it.
Of course I can. You know who I am, girl. You know what I can do. And I prefer to not have my playthings watched. Because whoever put this spot on you is watching you. And you can see him take one of the very sharp nails and sort of dig it into your skin and pull out piercing between his pointer finger and his thumb, digging into your skin, and he pulls out this small, thin leech. Watching. Always watching it was. Swishing it in
his hand, throwing it down onto the ground. He looks back to you and speaks.
Do not let that happen again.
I can't say it was on purpose.
The next time, be better. Do I make myself clear?
Sure, you make yourself painfully clear.
Good. And you know what, Eurydice? The next time this happens, if I have to save you from being watched again, whatever friends you've made, I'll make sure the punishment isn't experienced by you. It's experienced by them. So don't fuck up. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good. Now get out of my face and wake up in that cozy feather bed. Farewell, darling. I look forward to seeing what you find for me.
And with that, as he takes a few steps back, there is this wreath of flame around him, consuming him, and he's gone. You look out and around, and you close your eyes, hoping to wake up. And this time, you do. You're no longer in whatever that hellscape was. You are back in the villa. Light shining through the window, and you can hear people downstairs getting ready for the day's work. So as you're getting ready, sort of figuring out yourself and calming down, Grok and Izzy, was there anything the two of you wanted to do in the morning before you headed out?
Yeah, I need to go buy a scroll case. I need to find a shop that'll sell me.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely find like a leather worker. And we'll just say for leather, we'll say 1 silver piece.
Ooh, that's cheaper than the player's handbook competition.
Oh yeah. Well, getting a good deal. It's Black Friday.
That's not, foreboding at all.
Okay. So, scroll case purchased. And is there anything else, or was that it before you headed there?
Nope, I'm gonna head straight there as early as that market stall would essentially be open, so I can keep my word.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty. Grok, anything for you, or is that it? Or, well,
No.
You haven't said anything yet.
No, I would just be kind of peeking my head out the hole in the wall and just making sure my boat's okay, and then just heading out.
Okay. Alrighty. So you head out, and you and Izzy actually end up walking down Shipwright Alley at about the same time. if you'd like to make some idle conversation until you get to the villa, you can go ahead and do so.
Ah, good morning.
You alright?
Good morning.
Sorry, it's pretty late in the morning. I've not had my ale yet.
Well, do you have any ale on you that you could have? Put you in a better mood.
Oh, aye. It's a few days old, like, but it'll do right. Do you want some?
Oh, no, but I could make it taste better and make it cold for you if you prefer.
No, that's fine. Trust me, I've drank far worse, and I still will.
Are you sure? It takes me no time at all.
I mean, for the novelty, sure. Go on then.
Okay, I will use prestidigitation to cool his mug of ale, essentially.
Okay. Alrighty. So, yeah, Grok, she does do it. She cools it down for you. It's kind of refreshing now whenever you take a sip.
Is it like the crack of dawn and he's just kind of like walking with a mug of ale from this like shithole inn?
Oh, yeah, it's not good ale. But I don't think Grok really has those standards.
Oh, no, he does not care.
It tastes like good ale, though.
That's right. She can make it taste like good ale.
Oh, I'd call that fancy stuff. Trust me, he's fine with the shite.
Okay, alrighty. So you cool down the ale, and eventually at about that point, the end of that interaction, the two of you have now made your way back up to the villa. Making your way in, you can see that Nalfian and Twig are already there, unless Nalfian and Twig, you guys wanted to do anything before the two of them got there.
I think Nalfian he'd be up rather early. So,
Okay.
no, he's good.
Okay, alrighty, cool. So, the two of them arrive, and as the four of you are sort of beginning to get ready, waiting for Priestess Aida to arrive, the four of you notice that Eurydice has not come down from the guest room yet.
Oh, well, it appears she's oversleeping. Well, Grok, you're loud. Do you want to go get her up?
I'm what?
Loud.
Me? I'm not loud.
Are you sure?
Alrighty then, I guess I'll get her. And Nalfian will just kind of like huff himself up from the table.
Okay, alrighty. You get up, and you head up the stairs, quiet as ever, making sure not to make them creak at all. And get up there and knock on the door. Or you're just going to open it.
No, he'll knock on the door.
Okay. Eurydice, you hear a knock on the door.
Little dove, it's time to wake up.
Yes, sorry, I must have overslept. I'll be down in a minute.
Is everything okay in there?
Yes, everything is fine.
I mean, I can check for monsters under your bed if you'd like.
I'm sure you would love that, but I can assure you I am perfectly capable of handling monsters myself.
Alright, well, the rest of our lovely new friends are here, so whenever you're ready.
She winces at lovely new friend. Okay, I'll be there in a minute.
He will stand outside the door.
He's gonna try and make it look like she hasn't been crying.
Okay.
Then open the door.
All right.
Still here?
Oh, I was just making sure you were alright. You look lovely this morning. Can I tell that she's been crying?
Eurydice, make a deception check.
Should I insight, or...
Yeah, you can go ahead and make an insight check too.
That's not his strong suit.
Oh. Well, 12.
Needs to do. I don't know, 12.
Okay. No. I mean, she looks pretty normal. She looks a little groggy. Other than that, but that could have just been from the rough fight yesterday.
Well, fresh as a daisy, aren't we?
Look rather dashing yourself. She's going to go ahead and walk downstairs. Also, as she's walking downstairs, she's just going to low-key look at her hand. It's gone, alright?
Yeah, the spot's gone. There's a scar there, though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
Nalfian is just oozing in the fact that she called him dashing, and he'll follow after her.
Of course he is.
Okay. Alrighty. So you all head down that way, and eventually now in the main area, there's different bits of breakfast there for all of you. So whatever you want, breads and cheeses or fruits and vegetables, whatever you want to eat is available to you. Sadly, Grok, the only thing that is not here, there's no ale here. So
I'm pretty sure Grok would eat a literal loaf of bread like a savage and just tear it apart. Just pure carbs.
Okay. Alrighty, sounds good. So yeah, you all see Grok tear into some bread like nothing.
Izzy just take a stool and sit to the side and smoke her pipe.
Okay. Alrighty. So you all do so. And is there anything you guys wanted to talk about before Priestess Aida arrived, or?
Nalfian's just helping himself to breakfast.
Same, but
Free food, man.
She'll thank Twig.
Twig will probably have grabbed a few little things, then gone back to where her desk is and just grab a couple of her little parchment things that she's drawn out and kind of stow them away in her bag.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good to me. So all of you collecting yourselves, just kind of idling by through the morning until eventually you hear a very light knock at the door. Excuse me, is anyone in there? I don't want to just barge in.
Go open the door.
Okay. So you open the door, and there you can see Priestess Aida smile and say, "Oh, well, hello there. Do you mind if I come in?"
No, please do.
Thank you so much. She heads in. She follows you to where the rest of everybody is. And as she gets there, she smiles and says, "So, as I come to understand it, I'm here to tell you about," and you can see her kind of grimace and say, "the Shites. The area east of town with what's been happening there."
We're listening.
Yes. Well, apparently, there have been some issues there where there have been people disappearing in the mines. They hear a woman laughing and singing. I hear children playing deeper in the mine, and there are some people who go to investigate, and then they never come back out. Any people who are sent in to find the people who went in to look for those who were lost, well, they're also lost. So, about a week ago, people, they just stopped going in, but they still hear that woman singing and the children playing. No one's exactly sure what it is, but They hope that some type of answers could be found, especially those who have lost loved ones in there.
And how long has this been happening?
About 3 weeks now. And I think 15 people have been lost total.
How far is this from us, Joe?
It's inside the town. It's right over
Okay.
here, and right next to the number 3, you can see there's a little mine right there, surrounded by those trees.
Okay.
Right there.
Well, I think I am among some very capable friends, and I'll kind of like look around at everyone. We'll idle on Eurydice for a little bit, and I think that we can handle something like that. What do you say, friends?
Sounds like we have something to look for. Bunch of people by the sounds of it.
Definitely.
Yes. Hopefully you'll be able to find those people. I fear to think what might have happened to them, so I'm just hoping that they're all fine and you'll be able to find them okay.
So, you mentioned a woman singing. Is that what everybody hears? And then people don't come back afterwards, or?
Yes, they all hear a woman singing, and those who went to go find her. And they also said that they heard children playing too, shouting back and forth at one another. But anyone who goes in deeper into the mines to find those people, they don't return.
The people who go missing, are they anyone of importance?
No. There was one person, as more people started to disappear and, were unable to be found. The captain of the guard, Captain Darren, he decided to head in and investigate it himself. If can't send other people to get the job done, make sure you can do it yourself. So he tried that, and no one's heard from him.
Good job. I see.
I suppose not.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure we'll find them safe and sound, and if not, well, at least we tried. But we will do our best.
That is all we can ask for, and I pray that you'll be able to find whatever is wrong there, and make it so the miners can no longer worry. And the families can be reunited with their loved ones.
Right, and we did say payment half before and after.
Of course. Thank you for being so astute and punctual. I greatly appreciate it.
Of course, it's one of my many good features.
And you can see her, from a small satchel on her side, pull out a larger coin purse and count out 5 gold coins and hand those 5 gold to each one of you. And then the other 5 will be when you return. Also, if you are able to find Captain Darren, there is an additional 25 gold reward, total.
Well, we'll be sure to find him, don't you worry.
Alive.
He, smiled, and then when she said alive, his smile kind of dropped.
Well, surely if people have just been disappearing in there, there's not going to be anyone alive.
Well, the hope is that there are.
Well, it's all good to hope and all, but I do unfortunately share the same concern that my young friend here does. 3 weeks is a long time to be missing. Those people from 3 weeks ago, realistically, it's a small chance.
Yes, I am well aware of what the odds are.
Okay.
But you can't blame me for hoping.
No, that's of course fine. Just want to manage expectations. We'll try our best.
And as I said before, that's all I can ask. Well, is there anything else I might be able to help with? I'm afraid I might have given you all the information I already know.
Well, if that's all you got, I think it's time for us, and he'll just kind of stand up to head out. Losing daylight already.
Yes, maybe we should start moving.
Grok finishes the loaf of bread and then grabs like at least a handful more of just random food.
When you arrive at the Shites, and you can see her grimace once again when saying it, there's a woman there named Marley. She should be able to help you. She's kind of the overseer of the mine.
Right, got it. Shall we then? He will already be like heading towards the door. He's got a job to do, and he intends on doing it.
Okay. Alrighty. So, all the rest of you follow him out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, you all head that way, and you carve yourselves through town, passing through the Shipwright Cove, through the Merchant's Pass where the militia is, going around the temple, and eventually you get to a small, probably 80, 90-foot stretch of land where there are no houses to the left or the right. It's just forest. And eventually you lead into, what is almost day and night a different city, where to the west there is, fairly nice houses and some nicer taverns, some not as nice as the others. But this entire area over here, it looks like the inn you've been staying at, Grok. The entire area is just kind of tilted over, and everything looks like it's askew and about to fall over if the wind blows in the wrong way. The only thing that is any different is there's one solid stone building that is maybe 5-10 feet away from what looks to be an entrance to a mine. That is sort of a very tight doorway that leads into what looks to be a larger hill, heading deeper down in there. But as you get here, you can see that there are the people who are here are definitely not the the nicest looking people. Definitely quite aggressive. They all kind of look the same way that Grok does, just fairly unorganized and definitely talking a little bit too loud sometimes.
Shots fired.
But yeah, all in all, there's a very different feeling on this side of town than on the other one. But eventually you do see this a woman who is standing near that stone building, and she's sort of shouting out commands. She has this very very matty, kind of gross mess of auburn red hair, super wide-shouldered woman. She has very slight points to her ears, maybe half elven, and she has a large pick that's sort of hoisted up against her shoulder, and she's shouting out to these maybe 25, 30 people in front of her, who are all dressed very similar to her, and she says, "All right, now listen here, you pieces of shite. There's a reason why it's called the Shites, because all of you can't seem to do your fucking jobs. So how about this? How about, get this, you fucking idiots, how about we try and do our job, get some money, and make it so fucking Isabel doesn't have to worry about her house fucking collapsing on top of her when she's sleeping. She's got a 2-year-old babe, alright? Let's go in there.
Lovely.
And let's fucking find something, alright? Oh, fucking right. Get to work. Shouting out towards everybody. And eventually there are some grumbles in the crowd. Oh, fuck, I work hard, fucking grumbling all around, and eventually they all diverge, open up the doors, and they head deeper into the mine as she just sort of stands there, taking the pickaxe off of her shoulder, and just sort of putting her hand on her face and just groaning and rubbing the side of her temple. So, seeing that, who is approaching? She seems to be the woman in charge here.
Nalfiana will clear his throat and step behind the women to allow them to have their try at that. He's not feeling this.
Yeah.
You were to see your kind gone.
Very brave of you. And she steps forward. Hello.
So as soon as you step forward and say hello, she kind of looks up, and then you see her eyes kind of narrow, and this smile kind of creep across her face, and she says, "Well, hello there, pretty one. What can I possibly do to help someone like you? Beautiful like a rose in this part of shitty place, huh?"
Well, we are here on behalf of the temple about the problems happening with the mine, the odd voices, the echoing, the singing, that kind of thing.
See her shoulders kind of sloop a little bit, and her eyebrows drop. That smile that she had looking at you slowly melts away. Oh, aye. Very well, if that's what you're here for. Now, you really think that you can stop it?
I'd like to think that we can try, definitely, and do our best.
That's what we're here.
Excuse me, young man, I'm talking to the pretty lady here. Stay out of it. So anyway,
He'll just,
darling.
put his hands up in defense.
So you're sure you can stop it? I wouldn't want you to, break a nail or get a hair out of place.
I'm sure we will be fine. Thank you.
All
I
right.
feel like there's more of a concern about dying than losing a fingernail.
Well, aye, for you maybe, young one, but look at them nails and look at that hair. Oh. Well.
I'm sure I'll be fine. Thank you for the concern.
Oh, of course. So, oh, look at you, big fucking lad. I've heard about you. Talking to you, Grok. You know, I had some workers come to you, maybe what, a week and a half ago, giving you jobs, some payment for some hard work. And you told them to fuck right off.
Sounds about right.
Well, look at those fucking arms. I mean, I get it. You like your, the fuck is that, an anchor? Fuck it, I don't care. You can break anything with that anchor. Well, seems to me like all of you lot will be fine. The people that go in there are either too daft to care about their own hide, or they're fucking lost they are. And you see her kind of, she's been kind of going through this, cycles of trying to hide that fear and anxiety she's feeling. But then every once in a while it kind of peeks out and she says, but no seriousness, you think you could stop it?
That is what we're here for.
All right, well, here, let me get you some lanterns if you're heading down in the dark parts. It's,
When she says that, Nalfied will just give her a look like, okay, do I look like I need a fucking lantern?
That would be very nice of you to go and get us some lanterns, as I'm sure not everybody in our little party are able to see in the dark.
Grok tries to scoff quietly, but it is a full-on
This guy gets it.
I will pull a dart out from the inside of my cloak and just cast light on it.
Oh! Hey, well, that already is off to a better start than that bollard-brained captain. Went in there with no torchlight, no lantern, no nothing, by himself, talking about, with the righteousness the gods gave to me, I'll evacuate these demons from this place. A fucking dullard he is. Well,
Sounds like kind of a not a very intelligent person.
I do have one question though. Did he have a big fuck off anchor?
no, had a tiny pissant sword he did. Thought that was going to stop him. All right. If you think you're all right, and you're sure you'll be fine, I hope, right?
Yes.
All right, cool, good. Here, I'll take you down as deep as I'll go, and show you what's what.
Thank you.
She kind of turns around and sets her pickaxe on her shoulder as she begins to head in. And you can see that as you're walking around these people, most of them sort of soot-covered faces, very dirty clothes, very thick, calloused hands that you can see if they're not wearing gloves. You make your way in to the mine, and as soon as the door shut behind you, it's almost pitch black in here. Luckily, Izzy, because of the light you cast on the dart, it does provide a bit of illumination, and it is definitely appreciated by your companions who do not have dark vision, which I think is just you and Twig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Dude, Nelfian is vibing.
Okay. So, you can see as you're walking through this mine, the people off to the sides are kind of giving you these like sideways glances, seeing people who aren't miners, who aren't from here, coming into their mine. You hear a couple of people, mutter under their breath, like, they find any gems, they better give them up. I can't have them stealing. That's not right. Not right for them to steal. Fuck are they doing here anyway? Probably gonna die anyway. Fuck. And you just hear them the entire way that you're heading down this cavern. You just hear people say things in that spirit. And eventually you get to the end of what seems to be the first main alleyway, and it splits off into three separate tunnels. And she heads down the farthest to the right one. And as she's making her way down, you can tell that there's quite a bit of a decline here, where it is heading pretty deep down and not at a very comfortable walking slope. Luckily, with the light, you're able to place your footing fairly confidently. And eventually, after about a half an hour of walking and eventually sort of rounding a corner, you can see that there is a very rickety elevator that seems to descend straight down. All right, well, it's down there. There's
Has anyone actually seen what's down there, or has nobody returned to tell the story?
No one's returned. On the elevator, there's a bell right there. You ring that, I'll be able to hear it from up here. And I'll wait here. As long as I can. And if I leave, I'll make sure to send someone back, and they'll pull you back up.
Okay. Thank you.
But,
Thank you very much.
of course, please, be careful. Last thing I'd want is for, to lose more people down there. And you can see that being around not her workers, the people that she has to have that hard exterior. You can definitely see that there's some real nervousness and fear in her eyes. Just be careful.
We'll take care of it.
Good.
Don't worry.
Of course. I believe you. All right. Well, I can't wait to hear that bell. So,
Let's go, guys.
5 of you stand on the elevator.
The elevator will hold us, right?
It will,
so.
yeah.
You said rickety, so.
Oh, it's rickety, but yeah, it should hold the 5 of you. Grok, when you do step on it, there is a very concerning
Oh God.
as you can feel the wooden planks beneath you bend a little bit. Don't worry, back when this place was in use a lot, there was quite a bit of carts would be on here full of gemstones and gold. So I'm sure you'll be fine, big lad.
Oh, aye. If not, I'll break the ground when I fall.
All right. Good. Well, best of luck to you, and I am excited to see you when you come back.
So we are excited to see you again too.
Alrighty. So, with that, the group of you begin to get on the elevator. And you eventually she begins to she sets her pickaxe down next next to the wall, and she begins to pull a crank next to the elevator. And after 3 clicks, there is this drop for just a few feet that eventually is pulled tight as all of you feel that weightlessness in your stomach kind of lift up and then return back to normal. And as you're going down, now dropping another 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, she says, "That's going to happen once more when you get to the middle. Don't freak out. I promise you it's not breaking."
Could have warned us before.
What did you say?
Could have warned us before.
Sorry, lots of things on my mind. She begins to crank more and more until eventually you guys begin to descend, and then you're maybe descending for 100, 150 feet, perhaps, till eventually...
Like total darkness?
Oh yeah, aside from the light...
As soon as we reach that point, if you're standing next to Nalfian, you'll see that his eyes go from that really brilliant silver color to just blood red.
Okay. Alrighty. So, as his eyes adjust, all of you look in front of you as the elevator settles below, and you can see a very long, very narrow corridor, carved very crudely from pickaxe. As you begin to take your first steps, you start to hear
I'm going to use Divine Sense.
Okay. You want to go ahead and drop Divine Sense? No, thank you. Okay. So as of right now, you don't feel anything. You can hear it, but it's almost as if for a moment like you hear it coming from behind you, and then in front of you, and then to your left, and then to your right. But in terms of within 60 feet of you that's not behind full cover, you don't really feel anything.
Do I see anything? I'm not sure how my little vision works.
Yeah, as of right now, you see the outlines of the people around you.
Okay.
And very clearly you see the people, but in terms of anything else down the corridor, nothing.
Gotcha.
Nothing at all. So, all of you begin to make your way down?
Yeah. I'll lead the way.
Okay, alrighty. So, as
As
all
we're
of...
walking, you're just gonna hear like a... And it's just him eating broccoli.
Right.
Terrible.
Lizzie will come down and wrap around my neck.
Okay. She definitely curls up tight. You can definitely see that, although she doesn't fully comprehend what's happening, she definitely does not like this area. A little too dark for her taste. So, all of you begin to make your way down, and eventually heading down this 70-foot corridor, you can see something odd change in the texture of the walls. Where what you've been walking through has been solid carved stone, very harsh, very crude, pickaxes picked at stone and dirt. You can see turn into carved stone, very fine carved stone. And it looks as though they were almost like stone bricks that have been kind of broken out, as if you were breaking in through a wall. And as you step on the ground, it goes from those crunchy noises on gravel and dirt to the clicks of heels on a solid stone floor. Izzy, using the light that's on your dart, you can see that the walls are beautifully made and carved. This is true craftsmanship. Each one having runes etched into them. And Twig, as you look at some of these runes, you recognize them. Some of the same runes that you have covered on your body right now. These runes on these walls are the same. You sort of look at that and look at you, and all of you can see that. And you can see the area begin to open up, what seems to be in this large chamber where there is the walls to one side, but then there is a there's a tree, not but maybe 80 feet in front of you, underground, and you can see water rushing underneath it. A small little underground river. And it's not a fungal tree or anything like that. It's a legitimate tree. Maybe an oak or a pine tree. And then, as all of you are making these connections and seeing these things, you hear that humming again. Then it's gone. Then you hear children. No! Laughing and playing. You look around, wondering where the noises are coming from. Wondering what to do next. You hear a thoof of broccoli dropping on the ground. As you hear steel swiping on steel. As you prepare for what comes next. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Going. That's just not stop. What does that sound?
Just play forever.
I commitment too. Don't know her.
Exactly.
Oh god, I have no idea why my mic was cutting in and out so bad earlier.
It's okay.
But
It got better.
anyway, well, with 11 people watching, that's friggin' awesome. Thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying the stream and you'd like to see more, I run 2 other campaigns aside from this one on Tuesdays, one on Fridays, and then this one at Saturdays. So if you like this, please follow. I would greatly appreciate it and love to have you here. It's always great to have more people watching, talking to the people in the chat, because my players interact with the chat. And, you know, who knows? Maybe you could tell them to do something and then they'll say they're going to do it and then do something else. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate you, love you, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Alrighty. Farewell. Goodbye.